Okay, so I think we're live. It is 12:55. Wow, I'm early. Awesome. It is. I think today's the 27th. Can you believe it? It's April 27th already. My good note. It's just months flying right by. All right, so we got Paula Fitzhenry's in here already. Hey, Paula, how are you? Good to see you. Jocelyn's in here. It's always good to see Jocelyn. Hope you're well. It's always good to see Jocelyn in here. Good to see Paula in here. At least Joe's in here. Hey, Lisa Joe, how are you? Good to see you. Gonna go over some of the true crime cases of the week. I want to visit the Peaches case this week that broke. I also want to check in with the supposed SKer here in New England. Doing some other stuff. You're doing all right. That's good news. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. I hope everybody's well. And what else are we gonna do? I do want to go to a couple other things that I've been working on. But right now, and I'm going to be right back, I think. Like I said, it's good to see everybody. Hope everybody's good. Hope everybody's well. What am I doing? All right, so I'll play an intro, and I will be. Hold on a second. I think I'm going to be right back. Yeah, I'll be right back. It's Southern Gal. Oh my God! Hold on a second. Southern Gal's here. She's alive. Southern Gal is alive. I hope you're well, Southern Gal. I've missed you. Everybody's missed you. I've missed you for sure. It's good to see you. You have had to get your gallbladder out Monday morning. Oh, you have to get your gallbladder out Monday morning. Oh, that sucks. That's not good. Is that good? I don't think that's good. Yes, we've missed you too. Well, just keep us informed, Jocelyn. We have definitely missed Southern Gal, but it's so good to see her. So good to see you. I'm glad. I hope you're well. You'll feel much better. Yes, I'm alive. Had to take a vacation to give my brain a rest. Yeah, sometimes you got to do that. It helps. It definitely helps. It's good. I've been pretty sick with it, so I will be relieved to get it out. What is a gall? I don't even know what a gallbladder is. I'll have to look it up. We'll look it up. But let me play an intro, and I'll be right back. It's good to see SG in here. I'm glad hopefully she's well. So let me get back to what I was doing. You must have heard me talking about you because I've been looking for you. Intro. That's right. I'll be back shortly, very shortly. All right, be right back. Okay, sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties there for a second. Yes, it's good to see everybody. It's good to see Southern Gal in here. The true crime world is not the same without Southern Gal here. So good to see her. Okay, so I pulled up the gallbladder thing. Let's read this together. Let me get rid of my face. All right, so share screen. Gallbladder. There we go. The gallbladder is a small pear-shaped organ located underneath the liver that stores and concentrates bile. Yuck. A fluid produced by the liver to help digest fat. It's part of the biliary tract. Hold on a second. A system of ducts that connects the liver, gallbladder, and pancreas to the small. Okay, so it's part of your basically digestive system. When you eat, the gallbladder contracts and releases bile into the small intestine to aid in fat. So it basically, it's kind of like a pig in a sink. It's kind of there to digest the fat. Fantastic. And this is exactly what it looks like over here, right there. So I don't know if it's something you don't need. What will happen? Hold on a second. What will happen if removing the gallbladder primarily affects how the liver produces and releases bile, which is necessary. Bile is still produced, but instead of being stored in the gallbladder, it flows directly into the small intestine. This can lead to digestive issues like diarrhea, bloating, or gas. That's everybody. When eating fatty foods. However, these systems usually improve within a few weeks. So there you go. It's pretty much like you said, not much. It doesn't really do much. Class name Dave. I don't know. Today is the first. Hold on a second. Doodlebug is here. Hey, Doodlebug. I caught the very, very tail end of your live. I think it was yesterday. But I did watch the replay. Doodlebug is awesome. She has great stuff. I try to catch as much stuff as I can, but it's usually during the day, so I'm usually dead asleep. But I do try to catch the replays. Biliary. Obviously, I haven't had enough coffee yet today. Today, you are a genius. That's correct. You are. It's pretty much a useless organ. Today is the first time in about 3 weeks that I've done anything TC YouTube related. I got a lot of video. Good, awesome. Like I said, true crime is not the same without Southern Gal. Yes, you're awesome. Doodlebug is great. If anybody hasn't subscribed to Doodlebug, then please do. She's awesome. Enjoy all her stuff. It's very, very informative. Very good. Awesome stuff. All right, what are we doing? Okay, we did the gallbladder thing, right? So let's get rid of that. What are we going to do first? Let's all right. I do want to play this because I forgot to play this last week. I don't know if you guys have seen this. But this is a pretty disturbing case. Out of I forget where this is. Hold on a second. Let me share this. With Doodlebug? Yeah, Doodlebug's awesome. Hey, it's Sweet Shibby. Hey, buddy, what's going on, man? Dirty Diana. I almost said Double D. Dirty Diana had a great live yesterday morning. I should be able to do my MPM live this Monday night. Good. Missing person Monday. I think I got that. Yes. I'll be checking into that. Hopefully I get the notification because I'll forget. But Dirty Diana had a great live this morning. Enjoyed it. Always enjoyed the stuff there. Also, if you haven't subscribed to her, please do that. I'm going to compile a list of trustworthy creators that has all kinds of info on it, like if they're making flyers, or what platforms they're on, or what types of cases they are specializing. Yep, that's awesome. There's so many great creators out there. There's so many bad ones too. Good, I have had Southern Gal with me too. And I haven't seen Steve around for a while. I hope he's fine. Hope he's okay. Pretty sure he is. Hopefully he's taking a break. All right, I wanted to do this. Anytime I have people in here, it's awesome. Hopefully I'm doing a good enough job. covering some of these horrific cases. But anyways, I've been following this case for a while. This happened. I've been meaning to play this, but I just haven't had enough time to do that. So this is the trial of former FCI Dublin prison guard accused of essaying female inmates recently ended in a mistrial when a jury of mostly men deadlocked former Orange County, California prosecutor. This was done 5 days ago. Matt Murphy joins in. So this has been going on for a long time now. Actually, let's play this one first.
Where they belong.
Hold on a second. Let me go back here. So this is the former RAPE club prison inmates tell their stories. And this was done 6 days ago. News Nation special investigation. Multiple women who were formerly incarcerated in California tell their story of surviving a federal prison so notorious for essay. It was called the Grape Club. So I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but this is pretty horrific. I think one guy got like 82 months or 84 months, which is equivalent to like six or 7 years. And the guy, a completely terrible human being. But anyways, here's this here.
It's upsetting. It's upsetting to come back and to just to see the prison still standing.
Don't cry.
You almost gave up waiting. You were on who's live? Southern Gal? I'm lost. I think victims needed that. Yes. Big Fish, Small Ponds in here. Hey, Big Fish, good to see you. Good to see everybody. I'm doing great. That's classic. Thank you, Doodlebug. Like I said, Doodlebug's amazing stuff. Usually on another channel too, though. I forget the name of the channel. Dirty Diana's in here. Hi, Dirty. Up there's Southern Gal again. See, that's why I missed you, because you're always good at putting these up. If you have a channel, please throw them in the chat. That's why everybody's got wrenches. Because there's so many good channels in here. Jocelyn's channel, Dirty Diana's channel, awesome channel. Southern Gal, of course, great channel, great person. Doodlebug, everybody. Paula Fitzhenry's got a great channel. I catch her shorts as much as I can. That sounded a little weird. I catch her videos as much as I possibly can. Thank you, Southern Gal. Yep, there's Paula. Thank you, Doodlebug. And Mind of Monsters. I always forget Mind of Monsters. And I just saw the Think Tank again post something the other day. I think that had to do with the Peaches thing that we're going to go over again tonight, too. But enough of my babbling. Let's go back to this.
It's so good to see you.
It was hands down the Rape Club. It was a dark graveyard for us.
Yeah, Doodlebug is awesome. Thank you, Dee Dee, for doing that.
They tried to break me here. You know, they tried to break us all, and they weren't successful.
Where your mothers, your grandmother.
This is just a horrific story. These poor people went through hell. Because when you're in prison, nobody's going to listen to you. So,
There's your daughters, your sisters.
Choking me up because this should have never happened. None of this should have never happened.
They gave him the name Dirty Dick Smith for a good reason. Is that?
Heather Brown's in here. Where's Heather? Thank you, Doodlebug. Arctic True Fox is good too. Yes, Arctic Fox True Crime. I saw him on Farmer's page. He did an interview with Farmer. That was awesome. Heather Brown's in here though. Hi, Heather. How are you? Hope you're well, Heather. Heather's amazing too. Shout out to Heather. She's just awesome. I hope she's well. All right.
What I was sent to?
They're all together. They're all in it together.
Tonight, a News Nation exclusive. 5 women who were formerly incarcerated in California are telling their story of surviving a federal Solitary confinement, others, their release dates postponed in an effort, they say, to cover up what was really happening. The women tell me they are devastated after a judge declared a mistrial this week in the case of Daryl Dirty Dick Smith. Jurors were unable to reach a verdict.
Mustang's in here. Where's Mustang? Hey Mustang, how are you? Good to see you. Mustang, there he is. Good to see you. Dino's in here too somewhere. I've seen Dino. Dino's awesome. Hopefully his phone's charged. What happened to Dino? This here.
Smith was the last of the 8 officers charged with sex crimes at the now shuttered FCI Dublin. The rest of the men have
This is going to be a little triggering, I think. So just these guys here just deserve nothing but the worst possible punishment that could ever happen, ever.
either pled guilty or were found guilty. Smith faced the most counts of all of the officers. He is maintaining his innocence. Former inmates tell me the abuse was.
It is Lisa Joe, so I wasn't wrong. Okay, good. Yeah, when you're in prison, you really have to have a pretty good stroke of luck to get anything that happens in there out, for one, and two, have anything happen. So this is just pretty awful. Any way you look at it.
Was everywhere, in the cells, in the hallways, even the prison church wasn't safe. At the end of last year, the U.S. government did something unprecedented, reaching a nearly $116 million civil settlement paid out to more than 100 of these women. And now survivors are finally coming forward to tell you what happened to them behind federal walls.
This is Mark.
How many of you were sexually assaulted at FCI Dublin? What's going through your mind?
I'm sorry. It's embarrassing to tell people that what we went through is real.
One of the biggest cases of abuse ever at a U.S. prison happened here. And for the first time, we're hearing their stories. These women say at Federal Correctional Institution Dublin, from the guards to the warden, even the prison church wasn't safe. News Nation spoke to Wendy Ponzo, who alleges that Chaplain James Theodore Highhouse abused her.
4 times. I was 140 pounds when all this occurred. I ate myself up to over 200 pounds. If I figured if I became ugly, nobody else would want me. Nobody else in the prison system would come at me. And that wasn't true. I still don't go to church at all. I don't pick up my Bible. I can't.
The chaplain, who pled guilty to 4 counts of sexual abuse, is one of 8 former FCI Dublin correctional officers charged in federal court for sexually abusing women behind bars. 5.
Oh, so good to see you too, Heather. You guys must think I stalk you guys because I'm on all your channels. Every time you guys go to channel, there's Dave. That's too funny. Yeah, this is terrible. This is so these hold on, let me back this up a little bit here. These are all the scumbags here. James Highhouse here. 4 counts of sexual abuse is one of 8 former FCI Dublin correctional officers charged in federal court for sexually abusing women behind. Suspected anyways. James Highhouse, Ray Garcia. I think he's one of these guys was the chaplain, this guy here. All of these people. I'm pretty sure there's more, but I'm pretty sure that this is the only people that they have, up for the crimes yet. Correctional officer, recycling technician. Behind bars. 5 pled guilty, including Chaplain Highhouse, sentenced to 84 months in prison. It's pretty bad when the chaplain's involved, right? Like, The warden at the top, Ray J. Garcia, was convicted by a jury and sentenced to 70 months in prison. Yvonne Palmore says she remembers the warden standing over her after she was beaten by a group of guards.
And you woke up and you saw the warden doing what?
Standing over me, filming my body.
Your naked body.
Naked.
And what were the other inmates screaming at you?
He's filming your Miss P, Miss P. And I happened to look up and he's standing over me with this smirk on his face. And I woke up in the hospital, but I had bruises from head to toe, boot prints, actual boot prints on my body for months. So they hid me in the shoe.
What was the longest period of time that you were in solitary?
7.5 months.
And they told your family that you were dead.
I was dead.
Darlene Baker still can't sleep after what happened. In a federal lawsuit filed last June, she claims to have been sexually abused by a medical staff member at FCI Dublin.
What happened?
I get a shot every 2 weeks for a pretty severe autoimmune disorder. And I went in to get my shot. And he said, oh, go on back to where the refrigerator is, into the back medical room. And I didn't know it, but he had then locked the front door, pushed me hard against the wall. And it was a violent type of episode. And I kind of, I don't know, blacked out. And when I came back, when there was knocking on the door and he had finally stopped and my shirt and bra was up to my neck and my pants were down.
She says she tried to report the assault and the retaliation began. Then the day came she was supposed to go home.
Your release was canceled and then extended for 8 months.
Yes.
She says phone calls, emails, and personal visits were cut off. She became determined to be the whistleblower who would bring this all down.
I have a legal background. I'm going to report what I'm seeing.
She did, sending meticulous documentation through another inmate's mail to her family, who sent it to Congress.
You won $700. That's awesome. At the casino. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah, this is terrible stuff. This is like I said, I think one guy got like 82 months or something, and that's just sounds like a lot, but it's not considering all of the stuff they did. My conversation indicated some new info. She said everyone is super scared to talk and say anything. I'm sure.
Congresswoman Jackie Speer, information that would later be critical in building evidence, though that medical staff member is not one of the 8 charged.
I do have really bad nightmares every single night. And I think it's because I know my offender is free.
Because he told you he would find you.
Yeah. And he's still out. There's a whole bunch of them like that.
Kendra Drysdale says she tried to report staff misconduct during a pat-down through what should have been a confidential message to the DOJ. Within an hour, she says she was called into a disciplinary hearing in the prison and was accused of lying.
What do you want to keep? And I'm like, oh my God, please don't take my phone. I talk to my daughter every single day.
So good to see you.
And she said, okay, so we're going to take her phone. And then she said, we're going to take your email. We're going to take your in-person visits. We're going to take your video visits. And then she said, what else can we take from her? And she said, well, let's take her out date.
Let's take her out date.
Let's take her release date.
The California Coalition for Women's Prisoners says Kendra was left in prison for several months past the date she was supposed to go home. The women say the fight isn't over. After a hung jury,
I'm pretty sure this happens more than people think it does, though.
Daryl Dirty Dick Smith's new trial will be in September. Imade Shavira plans to be there to look him in the eye.
Is that what I was sentenced to? Suicide crosses your mind. Depression is a huge issue. How do you tell your family that you're in a federal prison and that the federal government's allowing this to happen?
We are the survivors.
Nobody's going to believe you, for one. This is just not going to happen.
These survivors say that day begins with coming back to where it happened, unbroken, and now you knowing what happened here.
News Nation for us is very important. And for you guys wanting and willing to put this out there so the people in the world can know. We're very grateful.
We did it though. We did it. Yeah, the fight is just begun.
Well, Daryl Smith maintains his innocence, and we reached out to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, which said in part it, quote, strongly condemns all forms of sexually abusive behavior and takes seriously our duty to protect the individuals entrusted in our custody.
Basically, this whole statement is saying just keep it under wraps next time. It's like, it's so sad.
Due to active litigation, we will decline to comment further. And the women tell us, though, the abuse has not ended. The prison was closed in 2024 with 600 about women scattered to more than a dozen facilities across the country. Community organizers tell me they are being contacted by these former Dublin inmates, and the sexual assault is continuing in these new facilities. For more on this, we are joined by FCI Dublin survivor Aimee Chavira and Courtney Hansen with the California Coalition for Women Prisoners. It is so good to see you both again. Aimee, I do want to start with you tonight. You were at Daryl Smith's trial. You allege abuse at his hands. How are you feeling after the mistrial?
I'm upset. I'm upset because I personally believe that the prosecutor didn't do a good of a job as he should have, because there is evidence. There's a lot of victims here. There's not one victim. And it's false when people do say, hey, you know, maybe it was for the monetary issue. No, this is false. All survivors we want him to be prosecuted. We want justice. We want the BOP to pay. We want justice for everyone.
Didn't he die? Didn't Brett Michaels die? I thought he died.
Every victim, and for this issue to stop.
Pretty sure he's dead.
We're not going to stop fighting. This is just the beginning. Setting for, you know, for what has happened, because you are putting victims through this over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Natasha.
Are you sure? I'm gonna have to. This is in California, Mustang. This is pretty sure Dublin, California.
This is a big issue here. This is a huge issue.
Aimee, I want to pick up on something.
It's closed now. I can try to Google it, but I'm pretty sure it's closed.
Thing you just said, because we saw Daryl Smith's defense painting the women coming forward against him as women who were all incarcerated for felony offenses, looking for their golden opportunity, essentially seeing dollar signs and a potential windfall because of the large class action settlement. What is your response to that?
I think he's pushing up daisies with that guy Sam Elliott. All poison dyed their hair. They all use a walker on stage.
My response to this is that against the law for somebody, somebody to say, hey, you're going to receive a monetary settlement here or something? No, because the victims, as I speak as a victim, what we wanted was justice. What came from us, what came from me personally, was justice. Prison time. You committed a crime, pay for the crime that you have committed, not just by yourself, but with 7 other, more hundreds of officers have done, and till this day are still doing. That's what we were asking for. That's what we're still asking for. And we're going to continue to ask for justice. That's our main priority here, is for justice to be served here. If I committed a crime and I had to pay for it, so do they.
Yeah.
But their badge and their shield kind of makes it hard for this to happen. But it shouldn't be like this. There should be even justice. The system should have an even justice pay here for everyone, for an equal, And
it's basically due west of Oakland, I think. I test my knowledge of Brett, just saying. Yes, the singer of Firehouse died. I know that. Yep, for sure. I'm just teasing you.
And that's not what we're seeing here.
I hear you, Aimee. And Courtney, I want to bring you in here. It's interesting. This jury was comprised of 10 men and 2 women. You closely monitored this trial. What insight can you give us into the jury selection specifically regarding women?
Talk about a stacked jury right there, man. It's terrible.
Yeah, thank you for asking this question. It's really important to note that the initial jury pool was pretty evenly split. During selection, potential jurors were asked whether they or someone that they're close to have ever experienced sexual assault. So this question effectively disqualified many women. And rather than recognizing this type of lived experience as a source of expertise and insight, the court treated it as bias, sidelining, in our opinion, those most capable of understanding the trauma at the very heart of this case.
Yeah, you can't have a more stacked jury than that. You have, allegations of 100+ women alleging abuse in a prison, and the whole jury is stacked with guys. I don't know if that's a fair jury pool right there, man.
So only 2 females ended up on that jury because the rest of them were disqualified for either experiencing sexual assault themselves or having a close loved one, family member.
It's Jenny 8675309. Jenny's awesome too. Jenny's great. It's so good to see Jenny here in the chat. So good to see everybody. Jenny's amazing.
Or a person close to them who had experienced it. That's fascinating. I want to ask you about this because in the opening statement from Smith's defense, they made a point of saying there is the absence of physical or DNA evidence here. They're trying to insert doubt with the jury. It struck me that you say Dirty Dick Smith said something very specific to you that relates to this. Can you tell me what you remember?
There was a time when I went down to the officer station and Officer Smith was working. And as I went down there, I had told him, hey, one day you're going to pay. And he leaned back on the chair and put his feet up and said, you're a convicted felon. I'm a federal officer. Who do you think they're going to believe? You don't have a word that I can't use on air. But in other words, so the audience can understand me, it would mean ejaculate. So people can understand what I'm talking about is you don't have my physical evidence in your hands or on your clothing, so you can't, there's no way I'm going to get prosecuted. So this is what we're facing, Natasha. This is what we're arguing. The cover-up, the cover-up of the government, or, him being protected where.
So awful. It's just, hey, it's Miss Barb. Barbara's in here. Hey, Barb, good to see you. Look at Southern Gal. Southern Gal's here too. Yeah, this is just awful. This is awful shit right here. This is just, it's 2025 and this shit still happens, right?
This is exactly what we're talking about. The evidence that is being hidden, or for him to know that this is what we've been talking about this whole time. Mm-hmm. He clearly told me. So if he's clearly telling me, and I'm telling you, before he's gone to trial, this is what he said. And this is what we're going through exactly right now.
And Courtney,
so he technically told me, you don't have my evidence, I'm not going to be charged.
Courtney, FCI Dublin was abruptly.
It's kind of frustrating.
I certainly, and I hear that. Courtney, I want to ask you, this is very important. FCI Dublin was abruptly shut down last year. It was a move that U.S. District Court Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers called ill.
I think they gave them that nickname. A horrible nickname, right? Dirty Dick. Like Charlotte would say, no dick pics, please. For God's sakes, please. I can't read this. I used to know a little bit of Spanish. Boy, it's windy out tonight.
Conceived at the time, about 600 women scattered to a dozen plus other facilities across the country. Has the abuse ended in these new facilities?
The abuse has not ended, and it's important to note that that abrupt shutdown of FCI Dublin happened as soon as our class action lawsuit against Dublin and the BOP required a special master to come in as totally independent oversight and monitor the crisis at the prison. So they shipped hundreds of people, as you said, all across the country, and we continue to have incredible movement attorneys.
Why doesn't Jenny have a channel? I think Jenny should have a channel too. Yes, we've missed Southern Gal. Southern Gal's amazing. We've missed you too, Miss Barb. You took Spanish in middle school and high school? I took Spanish too, but I was too busy looking at the teacher to. I probably had the greatest looking Spanish teacher ever.
Go and visit these people, and we have confirmed reports ongoing sexual abuse perpetrated by staff at other federal women's prisons, on top of other forms of heinous retaliation, including extremely widespread use of solitary confinement, which is a form of torture and retaliation. And it's exactly what women faced at FCI Dublin when they reported abuse through official channels that they were
Bullshit. Dave Hunter teacher.
told to report it through. So we are still seeing Dublin survivors held in situations and fighting for their release to come home where they belong and be able to heal in their communities.
It's enormously disturbing to hear that the retaliation and the abuse is continuing just in other facilities. And Courtney, one more question for you. We're seeing a lot of viewer comments and outrage pouring in. Several have suggested only female guards should be allowed. It stood out to me that the survivors I spoke with, including Aimee, say that the abuse also came from the female guards. Wendy Ponzo, who alleged the abuse at the hands of the prison chaplain, suggests that every correctional officer should be required to wear a working body camera at all times.
I would second that. I think that's a good idea. Or at least cameras that can't be manipulated.
I want to get your thoughts on this.
Sure, there are many types of reforms that, should have been implemented yesterday, but unfortunately across this country, when we have body cams, when we have more surveillance, we still see incidents of brutality right there on camera, unchecked, without.
Nothing pisses me off more than this shit here, because this stuff here can be prevented by just, it's just, this stuff here is just so horrible. These guys, I mean, like I said, there isn't a worse punishment for these people. It's just my opinion.
Accountability. So what our organization thinks, after 3 consistent decades of monitoring these types of issues like staff sexual abuse, they're really in the fabric of the incarceration system, of how we lock people up in this country. And I would ask the viewers who are feeling passionate about getting involved and doing something to really think about what's going to address the root of this problem that has existed for as long as the prison system itself has existed.
Yeah, Courtney, very quickly, we're almost out of time. Any reaction to News Nation doing this investigation?
Yeah, I mean, all they have to do is just not show it, right? They just, or erase it, or do anything they could do anything they want. They should have cameras that you can't do that with. Once it's taped, it's over. And you'd be surprised. I've seen people say they shouldn't be in jail in the first place. So it's got victim blaming and stuff like that. But it's just, this stuff here is just terrible.
I think it's incredibly important. We're extremely grateful. I see all the attention pouring in, that people are really fired up. And I think this issue hits close to home for so many people. And we got this far because ordinary people came together and said, enough is enough. We don't want to live in a society where this is normal. And the fact that News Nation is covering it so rigorously is really needed. Thank you.
Who said that? We learned Spanish from Sesame Street. What? Oh. Yes. Yeah, that's one way you can do it. I know that this is Oregon and Florida. The only Spanish I know is from Steve Martin. That's it. Donde está en casa de Pepe? That's it.
Thank you.
Aimee Chavira, it was an honor to hear your story. Courtney Hanson, I appreciate the work that you do. Thank you both.
All right, so that's
Thank
the end of
you
that.
so
I'll keep
much.
following this, but there's another video I was going to show on this here, but I've already played that one. We'll play that one. I just want to go back to this here. So that's, keep an eye on that, but I'm pretty sure the prison is now defunct or closed or something like that. But there's other stuff. It's not Oregon. It's Oregon. I'll never say that correct. It's just never going to happen. Okay, so. All right, so I'm going to go here. Let's do the Peaches thing now. I just want to read this here. let's do this here first. Share this here because this gets confusing. This is confusing even to me here because there's so many victims, and now that they've put a name to us, this Jane Doe 3 here, it's even more confusing. But I'll try to sort it all out for people here. So this lady named Peaches, I believe part of her was found in 1997, and she was known at the time they found her as Jane Doe 3. One of the, I believe it was the chief of police or somebody like that, gave her a name, Peaches, because she had this tattoo. And until last week, nobody knew who she was, but they came out, played the press conference. They came out and identified her, but she was born in Alabama. Cause of death, decapitation. She was decapitated. She was discovered right around the Gilgo Beach area, Lakeview, New York. And again, she was known as Jane Doe 3 at first, but they turned around and called her Peaches because of this tattoo. But they also found, now this is going to be very triggering here, her daughter, which is was also identified. So anyways, Tanya Denise Jackson, formerly known as Peaches, the girl with the peach tattoo, or as Jane Doe number 3, whose torso was discovered in 1997. So basically, her body was found in 1997 in Lakeview, New York, near Hampstead Lake State Park. And I'll pull up a map at some point. The cause of Jackson's death is listed as a homicide due to decapitation. She remained unidentified until last week, and her skull has yet to be found. So basically, Jackson had a tattoo on her left breast depicting a heart-shaped peach with a bite taken out of it and 2 drops falling from its core, which resulted in her nickname Peaches. By December 2016, additional skeletal remains found on Long Island. In 2011, had been positively identified belonging to Miss Jackson, along with the remains of her daughter identified in 2025 as, so they identified her daughter last week too, Tatiana. So Tanya's the mom and Tatiana's the daughter. Due to location of her remains, the murder of Jackson and Dykes have been linked to the Long Island serial killer as potential victims. Now, I don't think they're connected. I personally don't think they're connected to Rex Heuermann. That's just my personal opinion, but they could be. Let's see here. More Spanish. Divorciaron, sí. I'd love to learn Russian. My brother could speak and write Chinese, so, but he's dead, so he can't do it anymore. Take off, you hoser. Bob and Zip. Was that Bob and Zip? Or was that? No, that was Bob and Zip, right? That was Rick Moranis. All right, so let's go back to this here. So, so in 1997, June 28th, dismembered body was discovered by a hiker in a wooded area of Lakeview, New York. The head, both arms, and both legs below the knee were severed and have yet to be found. The torso was found on the west side of Lake Drive, about 200 yards north of Pennsylvania Boulevard. I'm planning to take a trip down here and to do some, videos of where all of this stuff happened. But this is all basically in the same general area here that everything was found. On December 13, 2016, Long Island Press reported that local authorities have possibly identified skeletal remains formerly referred to as Jane Doe 3, found at Jones Beach State Park in 2011 as belonging to Peaches. Remains of a child were also found in 2011. east of Cedar Beach, with DNA testing identifying as Jane Doe 3 or Peaches as its mother. So let's go to a video now. This is just sad. This is just suck. Bob and Doug what are they? Bob and Zip. So let's do this here. I'm going to play the one second. I'm going to play the News Nation one first, and then I'll do the press conference. I want to say first, though, that this guy, what the hell is his name? Rodney Harrison, the the task force in this case here is just amazing. These guys here, because this case here could have been solved back in 2011, 2013, maybe the latest, but there was such corruption in New York with the police chief, the DA, that it stalled for so long because nobody gave a shit. But these guys, Rodney Harrison and the prosecutor, came in and they've been kicking some ass. This is awesome work by police here for sure. These guys are amazing.
You don't have to have a body to actually convict someone of murder. But if you do, you don't have to know that victim's name. It does, in fact, help without question, but it's true. And since 2010, police on Long Island have found more bodies than suspects on or near Gilgo Beach. They found 10 sets of human remains. 6 of those murders have now...
That was Strange Brew, right? Strange Brew, the movie. That movie was classic. It's Polish. Piotr Haniek. I don't know. It's all Greek to me, man. All right, here we go.
Been tied to Rex Heuermann.
I mean, I'm just saying this off the record. Like, I don't think these two are related to this guy, but that's just, I mean, they could be. I just don't think they are.
An architect suspected of being the Long Island serial killer. Another alleged victim was found 60 miles away in Southampton, New York. Most, if not all, of Heuermann's alleged victims were...
These are the ones that are connected to him. You got Megan Waterman, Melissa here, Amberlynn Costello, Baynard Barnes. All 7 of these are being connected to this guy here. And they want to try all of these separately, I think.
Sex workers, petite, young women whose remains were found tied up.
I don't think Peaches or Tanya was a sex worker. Great White North album, 1981. Can you believe that? 1981. Seems like yesterday.
And sometimes wrapped up in burlap. All of them were identified.
They had that other knockoff of Saturday Night Live too. With John, was that John Candy? And Rick Moranis was in there too, I think. SCTV, was it SCTV or something like that? That was a wicked funny show.
Identified, but 3 of the Gilgo bodies were not. One was a man believed to be Asian. Another was a woman who investigators called Peaches because of a tattoo they found on her chest. Peaches' torso was found in a Rubbermaid bin. That was back in 1997 in a state park 20 miles from where her arms and her legs would turn up 14 years later. That same year, 2011, the remains of her toddler.
A strange thing about this case here, all of these cases anyways, is if it wasn't for what's her face, now her name escapes me, none of these bodies would be found, and they still haven't gotten to the bottom of the other one. It's just so weird.
Were also found nearby. That toddler was called Baby Doe, little girl. And while we don't yet know who killed those 3 victims, we do know the names of 2 of them. Police today announced that Peaches is Tanya Denise Jackson. a 26-year-old Army veteran and single mom originally from Alabama. She was living in Brooklyn and believed to be working in a doctor's office before she died. Her 2-year-old daughter was Tatiana Marie Dykes. Both were ID'd through forensic genetic genealogy. News Nation's Laura Ingle spoke exclusively with the retired detective who carried the body of Peaches out of that park 28 years ago and gave her the nickname that stuck with her to this very day.
Were you here when the bin was still here, or did you view the bin?
No, actually, my partner and I carried the bin out.
You carried the bin out of here?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And put it into the morgue wagon, you know. And then went to the morgue afterwards to see when they opened it up. We didn't open it up here. We opened it up inside the Nassau County morgue. And that's when we discovered that it was, you know, a female torso.
What were the protocols back then for evidence and handling it? Obviously, things are different now with DNA, but what were the protocols like? How did you guys handle that?
Well, we were
Shannon Gilbert. I can't believe it took me that long to remember that. So all of these cases, everything that's going on right now, it was because of Shannon Gilbert, because they were originally looking for her. That's when they stumbled upon the four bodies at Gilgo. That's when the whole case started to take off. That's genetic genealogy is just amazing. Yes, for sure. If it wasn't for that, they would have never known this.
Of course, you wear gloves and that kind of thing, especially picking up, you know, I mean, all that stuff was allegedly.
Oh, I just want to let you guys know, I've found this court TV thing where they do the, forget the actual name, but they interview with a serial killer. And it's just a really, really awesome show. I've been listening to that lately. We'll go over that too tonight with Hilton. But it's an awesome. Goes in and interviews all these unalivers, and it's just an awesome show. Forget the name of it.
Tested for fingerprints.
So this is. Let's do this here. Let's. Hold on a second. I want to go here first. Is that it? No, right here. Okay, so I've got this somewhere in my computer. I don't feel like looking for it. So anyways, I don't know if anybody can see this here. Well, anyways, let's go back. Hold on a second. All right, so these are all the victims. This is the basically the distances here. I don't know if anybody can see this here. But this is where all the bodies were found. These four were basically in the same. I mean, these were really close here. These are the first four that they found, I think. And then you go up the beach here. You got the Asian male here. He was basically dressed as a female here. That's the Asian male. There's Jessica Taylor here. But this is where Jane Doe was found. And this is the toddler were found. So they were found very close together here. At least the torso. And then the toddler was just basically left out here to die. So just wanted to go over that. So that's, and down here is the distance between these. I'll have to do some math, but this is the actual distances here. All right, so let's go back to this here. I'm so happy they finally identified this person here because it was tough for the family.
I'm assuming in today's world, DNA,
Right.
we really didn't have a lot of that back then.
That was from Laura Ingalls' YouTube channel.
And where they were found, especially the first four, it's like a perfect place to hide bodies because you'd never find them. You just never find them, especially wrapped in burlap because you wouldn't be able to smell them. And where they were found, where they were put, it gets so dark there at night that you'd never see them in the weeds there.
The Ingle edit. Big question now. Were they murdered by the suspected Long Island serial killer, Rex Heuermann? Police say they can't rule it out, but Tanya Jackson doesn't fit his alleged type, and her toddler certainly doesn't either. Laura Ingle joins me now live from Hempstead Lake State Park, where Peaches was found. Hey, Laura, it's really dark there.
She did. This lady here did a great investigative reporting. I think it was on CW, but she did a tremendous job with breaking down basically the entire timeline of the Gilgo 4.
Now, but does it feel and look like the perfect dumping ground for not just maybe the Long Island serial killer's victims, but others as well?
Where's JCN? JCN's in here. Hey, JCN, good to see you. Another great channel there. Where is she? Where did they find who? You've been smoking since you were 2. If they really too heavily on DNA, a criminal with half a brain would take a bath. That's right. Pretty sure that's coming. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to figure that out at some point. It's JCN. She's got a great channel. She's awesome. Thank you, Southern Guy. I missed something here. You can't trust a Canuck. Nope. I am technically a Canuck. Okay. Dee Dee said something here that I missed. Where did they find him? Basically all along Long Island. I think it's like a 2 or 3 mile stretch of beach that they found them. All right, so let's go back to.
Sure. I mean,
I've been there. I've actually been to Gilgo Beach or Oak Park, that stretch of beach there. And the beaches here are absolutely freaking amazing. But I've done 2 or 3 videos on this here. I've done more than that, probably 3 or 4. Because these areas here, especially this area, Gilgo Beach, Long Island here, got pummeled by Hurricane Sandy and Irene. So I'm wondering if some of these bodies might have gotten moved around a little bit from that heavy surf. There were 9 to 12 foot waves here from, I think it was Hurricane Sandy. It might have been Irene, one of them. And it just pummeled this coastline here. So I'm wondering if some of these bodies got moved around a little bit. I mean, that's a lot of water. So
where I'm standing right now is an entrance to the park, and there's a road that you can see here behind me. And where I did that interview with William Brosnan, the retired detective from Nassau County PD who carried the bin out of here, he showed me exactly where it was, and it was directly right off of this road.
Yeah, they went out there to look for Gilbert because somebody had called in something about Gilbert. I think it was the mother of Gilbert, Janet Gilbert. They were trying to get the police to look for her because she was missing, and that's when they found the 4, what they call the Gilgo 4. But if you listen to this lady's, I think it's like a 4-hour breakdown of the Gilgo 4 here. She does a really good job. I think it's on the CW, forget the name, CW Network, CW something. Let me go back here. Hold on a second here. Yes. And strangely enough, one of the other cases that I'm following called the New Bedford Highway unalivings there. One of the victims was also wrapped in a plastic of some sort. So here's Long Island here again. And this is where Hurricane Sandy hit, right in this area here. Hurricane, actually, hold on a second. So here's I've done tons of videos on this here. So this is Long Beach here, and you look, obviously this is after. So this is 2012, Hurricane Sandy hit. And here's some more pictures here. I mean, that's a lot of water. I think it's still one of the biggest natural disasters in New York State history. Here's some more images. I mean, this is a lot of water, and it's a very short period of time. And I'm just wondering if some of these bodies got moved around a little bit because of this storm. And you never know, but there might have been more bodies out there that just got taken out to sea when this water receded here. So, anyways. Let's go back to this. Hold on a second. Thank you, Heather Brown, for putting that in there. Dirty Diana's got an awesome channel. I look forward to her the lives when I get home from work for Saturday morning. All right, let's go back to this here.
And for the longest time, many of us thought maybe it was in the woods, maybe it was hidden. But he told me and showed us that it was just off the road. So somebody drove through here, probably pretty quick at night. It's very dark, as you mentioned, dropped the bin and off they went. So this is kind of a cut through the road that you see here behind me that goes through this really massive state park. So sure.
I mean, the thing is, they had all this information back in 2011. That's the sad part, right? They had the vehicle the guy was driving. They knew he was a big guy, almost like an ogre like type guy. They knew it was a first generation Chevy. The Derp Squad's here. Hey, buddy, good to see you. They basically had all of the information from somebody that saw the guy pick up. I think it was one of the victims. So they did absolutely nothing with it because it was all corrupt. There's just such corruption at the police. Is just crazy.
Could certainly be the perfect dumping ground. And as we know, 1990.
So what I'm saying is, when the task force took over this case, it didn't take them long because they basically had all the information. They had the cell phones going back and forth from Long Island to Manhattan. It's just like I said, this case should have been solved in 2012.
97, and here we are today finally learning the identity of Peaches, which took so long. And also interesting to note, Ashley, I wanted to share with you that Brosnan told me that in that tub that we've been talking about where her torso was found and that Peaches tattoo, that torso was found in multiple plastic.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I knew the Derp Squad was Charlie. Miss K's here too. Hey, Miss K, good to see you. Miss K calls me David. I just figured that out yesterday. That's so weird. I'm so late to the party sometimes. It's Miss K though. It's good to see you in the chat, Miss K. Always good to see you here. Good to see Charles here too. Look at this. This poor kid just was left out there to just die. It's just so sad.
Plastic bags inside of that bin with a pillowcase and a sheet. And so hopefully.
So they finally. This is Tanya here, and the baby's name is Tatiana.
There is going to be preserved evidence, right? Because it was in a tub, it was sealed. But obviously, investigators have been looking at this for many years, decades, in fact, trying to get to an answer. And that's why one of the reasons why they came forward today to tell us her name.
I hope Miss Barbara's doing good. It's been a while since we've seen. Well, I saw Miss Barbara last week here. She was here. But I hope everybody's doing well. I don't blame Southern Gal for taking a break from this stuff here. It gets on your mind sometimes, all of this unaliving shit.
Tell us the name of her young baby, just 2 years old. That hopefully somebody will see these images, know these names, and come forward with information that can help lead them to a suspect in this case. And whether or not that's...
Yeah, my opinion, it's not going to take long to find out who did this either. Now that they know who they are.
Rex Heuermann, we still don't know.
Yeah, the baby was found next to Valerie Mack, and he is charged with Valerie Mack's murder. So that's sort of curious. But you know, this woman does not fit the profile, and neither does a baby of Rex Heuermann's other alleged victims. What about the dad? This woman does not share the same name as the toddler. The father of the toddler, is he a suspect?
He was mentioned in the press conference today with Nassau County PD and the other investigators. That question was asked and answered. They said they have located him. He is cooperating. But what's interesting, Ashley, is that he or anybody else did not report her and the child missing. So that gives us a picture, a snapshot of what may have been happening in this woman's life, a single mom who was moving around.
Miss Barb is awesome. I think Peaches is that corrupt, please. Yeah, it could be. That's a good point right there. It could. I think Rex Heuermann's related to these two, but he might be. Who knows? Walking home at the moment. Nothing like walking home in Florida. It was actually fairly warm here today. Now it got cold all of a sudden again. The dew points today were in like the 60s. So we're getting there. Charlie Sheen is here. So fucking funny. Oh my God, that's classic.
She was an Army vet. We know that she last lived in Brooklyn. She had a couple of addresses in Brooklyn. But I was listening to some.
I think though that the chances. I mean, it's. Sorry, Miss K. We're going over the Peaches case here. It wouldn't be surprising to me. It would be very, very unsurprising if it's not somebody that's close to this person. It's, this to me here screams of like a domestic type thing here, but it might not be. Who knows?
People who are talking about this case, and they made note that, she had babysitters. So none of the people that knew them, as far as we can tell, reported them missing. So maybe she had a nomadic lifestyle. We're not unsure of that. But again, that's the very reason why there's now a $25,000 reward for anybody who can come forward and provide information in this.
So I do non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. They removed one and there's 4 more yet, but one in my intestines. Oh, so is that what they're going to do on Monday, Heather? Shout out to Heather, man. I wish I could go down and go with you. We're with you, though, for sure. We love Heather here. Heather's amazing. Heather's an amazing person. Tuesday. You're going to let us know, though, right? I'll have to stalk you Wednesday.
this case, but certainly, Ashley, to your point about a baby, I mean, look at that face. I mean, who could do such a thing, right? We haven't had this type of victim in this case. And when you look at Gilgo Beach and you look at Ocean Parkway, I know you have that map. When you take a look at it, and
Yeah, I mean, to me, the baby throws things off with the somebody like a boyfriend or a father doing that, but you never know.
to end, these two victims are the bookends of the victims that
So here's where we just were. These were the first 4 that were found, and then they started walking, combing the beach, and then they found the Asian guy here. But this person here was found. She was unalived in '97, and then they found her torso, I think, in 2000 and what did they say? 2006, 2011. It's very confusing. At some point, I'm going to have to do a breakdown of. I have done that actually, but it is very, especially now that they've named them. Now it makes it even more. So she was dismembered. She was on June 20, 1997. Dismembered body was discovered by 1997. That's when the hiker found the torso in the garbage thing. So. And then they found other parts of her later. I wonder why baby was found so far away. That's the thing that throws me off about the dad. So this is these are the 4, and like I said, the only reason why they were out here looking is because they were looking for Gilbert, Shannon Gilbert, and then they found these bodies here, and then they kept finding bodies. It sucks. I don't know why these 2 were close. I think it might have been that, Tanya, the Peaches was found away from here, but she might have been moved. She might have been decapitated and moved somewhere else. That's the only thing that kind of links maybe back to Rex Heuermann is the decapitation, but who knows? I just don't think he's part of that.
were found along Ocean Parkway. Peach's extremities were found furthest to the west, and the toddler was found furthest to the east, right next to Valerie Mack. Now, I also want to point out one other thing that's really important, Ashley. Remember that planning document that we heard about during court with Rex Heuermann and the bail document? He had a planning document that allegedly was found on his hard drive in his home. One of the things in the planning document was to remove, destroy tattoos. Peaches was found in 1997.
Oh, shit, that's right. I should pull that up. I completely forgot about that. This woman here, who's been covering this case, is amazing. That planning document, remember that planning document that we meant? It's about the tattoos. So it might be him.
Investigators put that Peaches tattoo on TV for everyone to see. Fast forward to 2000, and this planning document that was allegedly made by Rex Heuermann has a note to self: destroy tattoos. And that is something that did happen with multiple victims.
Sure. It will be fascinating to find out what might be on that pillowcase, though. And might it lead to the father of the baby, or might it lead to Rex Heuermann, or neither? Laura Ingle, great work. Thanks for doing this late night out at that park. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app.
Okay, so hold on a second. Sorry, I was looking for that planning document. Okay, so here's the press conference. We won't play all of this, but
Finally going to be able.
Let me all right, so here we go.
Updates on a 1997 homicide case. We have some of our friends in law enforcement here today to speak with you. You'll hear from the police commissioner, Patrick Ryder, the Nassau County District Attorney, Ann Donnelly. From the FBI, we have the Assistant Director in charge of the New York Field Office, Chris Rea, as well as the Special Agent in charge of the New York Criminal Division, Leslie Bakshies. To provide some details about the investigation, you'll hear from the Commanding Officer of the Homicide Squad, Detective Captain Stephen Fitzpatrick. Commissioner?
So good morning, everybody. I'm going to be really brief. First of all, I have to thank our partners, our district attorney, who's done a great job. Suffolk.
Wait, so hold on a second. If I'm not keeping up with the chat, I'm sorry. Okay, so here's one of the planning documents here. So this was the 2002, 2004 through 2004 planning document of his. I can't find the other one, but these are the problems. This is from Rex Heumann, and you can tell the spelling here is just absolutely atrocious. I mean, this guy is supposed to be an engineer and he can't spell worth a shit. That might be, I wonder if that's like planned though. So this is the problem supplies that you need to get all of this stuff done. I don't know how he's going to get out of this here. Large electric clips, ratchet car. The spelling is absolutely, every time I see this, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm surprised he spelled tire right. Lye, acid, police scanner with one N. It's just amazing. Booties. These are all the supplies he needs to do. Like this is going to be terrible in court, this stuff here. But I can't find the other one. This is the body prep here. Wash body inside and all cavities. Remove trace evidence, fingerprints, hair. Remove trace DNA. This is the one that she just mentioned. Remove ID marks, tattoos, and marks. So there you go. This might be, this is possible here. Just saying. What happened? Hold on a second. Okay, let me read the chat here. I'm sick with what turned me into monster as a kid again. Oh, that sucks. I'm going to be gone for like a month. Why? Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, that tattoo thing is it's possible for sure. I forgot about that 100%. There's so much to know about this case. That's why it's very, very complex. It's been going on forever, and there's body parts all over the place. There's people who haven't been identified who are now identified. It's tough keeping up with all of this here.
County who's worked with us, the FBI who's done great work with us. We're not here if we're not working together as a team. That's the most important part. We just left the county exec's office. He got a full briefing on everything. So everybody is up to date on where we are, and you will get the information that we have here. My one announcement here today is the information leading to an arrest and hopefully a conviction of the person.
Welcome back, Jocelyn. And I weigh under 169, which is creepy for anyone 6'4". What's wrong with you? I had 6 Chenobine narrow transplant and steroids. Well, get better, buddy. Throw some dirt on it. I don't know. I hope you're better. I hope you get better. I shouldn't be laughing.
That did these horrendous acts.
Is it a requirement for cops to look like skinheads? I mean, honestly, is it a requirement for cops to just not have hair? Is that the deal?
They're offering a $25,000 Crime Stoppers award. So please, anybody with information, after you hear it from Detective Captain Fitz, please give us any information you have. There's a $25,000 Crime Stoppers reward. I'm now going to turn it over to the district attorney.
You have leukemia? I didn't know that. I don't think you can throw dirt on that. Well, get better. I forbid Heather to have cancer again.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you also to the FBI who has helped us so much in this investigation, the Suffolk County Police Department. Today is a bittersweet day.
Where's Miranda? Miranda's here? If I missed Miranda coming in, hi, Miranda.
Today, after decades, we are finally going to be able to tell you the identities of two victims back from 19.
If anybody doesn't have a wrench and wants a wrench, just let me know. I thought I gave Miss K a wrench last week. Trigger word. What the fuck? I don't see Miranda either. You told Miranda she blocked you. Fantastic. Miss K, let me know if you want a wrench. Here we go with the wrench throwing again. Watch out, duck. SG will say duck. All right, back to this. Sorry.
$1997. The mother's name was Tanya. The baby's name was Tatiana. You'll get more detailed information on their identities from Captain Fitzpatrick. The reality is, our work has just begun. Knowing the identities of the mom and the little baby is just a first step to help us get to solving these murders. Having their identities helps us now say to the public, please, if you knew Tanya, if you worked with her, if you met her at the grocery store, you had an interaction with her, please contact us and let us know every little thing we can find out about.
SG is so funny. I can't handle this shit 3 weeks later. Still blocked. Bob and weave, yeah. Duck. All right. Where's Miss K? Miss K does what? Does she want a wrench? Stick your head between your knees and kiss your ass goodbye.
About her leading up to her death will help us to solve this horrific, horrific crime. We stand here together.
Okay. Like I said, you don't have to. Yeah, I have everybody in here is a mod. It's classic.
As the commissioner said, if it wasn't for our partners, we would never have gotten to this moment. We want to find out more about who they are and where they were and where they were coming from. My office is ready. My cold case unit and homicide prosecutors have worked alongside the Nassau County Police Department, the Suffolk Police Department, the FBI, to get us to this day. For the past few years, my prosecutors have helped piece together unsolved homicides and identify perpetrators. That work included prosecuting a known serial killer. We connected with a more than 50-year-old homicide in one of the oldest DNA cases in the county. Solving aging cases like this.
I don't think I've ever seen the Goonies, if you can believe that.
These are extraordinarily challenging, especially as evidence and people's memories fade in time. But we will never give up. We will never give up. Not on an unsolved homicide. Not on Tanya and Tatiana. We will follow every lead. We will pull it.
Could you imagine that, just walking in the park and then finding like a torso in a garbage barrel? It's up to me. The only reason why I offer people wrenches is because, I like promoting good channels. So if you know people who have channels, if you know people, or if you have a channel, you can post a channel in here. And I don't think you can do that if you don't have a wrench. So it's not like I'm looking for I probably say that too much, maybe. Yes.
Every thread until we can get justice for this mother and this child. Tremendous work has been done already to get us to this point. I look forward to continuing this partnership and determining what happened to Tanya and Tatiana. Thank you. Again.
All right, good morning. I'm Christopher Rea.
It's not like I'm pressuring, not like I'm trying to pressure people into having a wrench. He's a little creepy.
Assistant Director in charge of the New York Field Office. I first want to start by thanking the DA as well as the Police Commissioner in allowing us to be part of this press conference today, as well as being able to share our role as an assisting agency in this matter. It's an honor here to be in the presence with the Commissioner and the DA and the other law enforcement entities that work this case as we announce our joint role in working to identify Tanya and Tatiana. I hope today's announcement brings a sense of peace to their family and loved ones. I must first thank the persistent efforts of Nassau County Police Department. Their tireless work to ensure Tanya and Tatiana were not forgotten. And it's the reason we are all here today. This announcement highlights law enforcement partnerships at their finest. Investigators who were unwilling to yield and accept what may have seemed like a dead end, but instead sought new avenues to find answers. By inviting the FBI to help in this case, we were able—
They actually kicked the FBI out of this case. I think it was a couple of years into this, from the same idiot police chief and corrupt prosecutor. So they ended up kicking out the FBI.
Able to contribute new and innovative resources to the table in the form of our immensely skilled investigative genetic genealogy, or IGG team. You may have heard a lot about these teams recently in several cold cases across the country. The IGG team combines crime scene DNA with traditional genealogy research and historical—
Okay, good. Sometimes I stick my foot in my mouth. A lot of times I actually stick my foot in my mouth. Yep, Doug Carter.
records to generate leads to identify unknown DNA, which is what happened in this particular case. The meticulous work of our team, in partnership with the determined efforts of the detectives from the Nassau County Homicide Squad, ultimately helped confirm the identities of our victims in the case. I'd also like to thank the Suffolk County—
well, you're welcome here anytime. Wrench or no wrench. The tentacler. Yeah.
County Police Department, both the Nassau and Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, the Nassau County Medical Examiner's Office, and the Suffolk County—
I remember the Shack. Remember the Shack? It was like when you mentioned the Shack, you had people buying the book. It was so class. It was like
a crime lab for their valuable partnership and assistance in this investigation. The sharing of information and techniques demonstrates a crucial role of long-ship partnerships. Quite simply, this case would still be unknown victims had these partnerships not exist. Today, there is nothing we can't do. The FBI, as you've heard the director state many times, has a long memory, and we will always seek justice for victims, no matter how much time has passed. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone.
they literally had to get rid of the other guy, Riley, because he wasn't doing a good job. He was fucking up all the time. It was so funny. All right, what are we doing here? Okay, hold on a second. There you go. Let's see if that works. Let me know if that Luis Cuevas is in here. Hey, Luis, good to see you. Always good to see Luis in here. Where did I see you the other day? You were I forget now. Let me know if that worked. Ms. K.
Everybody,
Just going over the Peaches case here. They identified her this week, and the baby too. Tanya and Tatiana. I love the name Tatiana. It's an awesome name. But she was actually from Alabama, so.
for being here today to help us in this pursuit for justice. As you see up on the screens right now is the infamous tattoo of the Peaches. Today, we'd like to provide an update on these identities of the two homicide victims who have historically been referred to by the nicknames Peaches and Baby Doe.
So that's where they got that nickname. They wanted to call her Jane Doe 3, but one of the detectives felt bad calling her just the Jane Doe name because it wasn't personal enough. So they gave her the name Peaches.
The first victim was an African-American female. She was located over 27 years ago. On June 28, 1997, her torso was found in the Hempstead Lake State Park, which is located within Lakeview, New York.
Yes, I did see that. Seeing Louise in here is awesome. She's great. It's always good to see you, Louise. I hope Charlotte's well too. I haven't seen Charlotte for a while.
York. This victim had the tattoo you see up on the screen on her chest. It's a heart.
I haven't seen Gail Hurd around either. Peaches for Free. That's an awesome song. What was I just saying? I haven't seen Gail. I hope Gail's okay.
Shaped peach with a bite out of it with a drop coming from it. Based on this tattoo, the victim has commonly been referred to as Peaches. The second victim was Baby Doe. Baby Doe was the second victim discovered just over 14 years ago. On April 11th, 2011, she was found near Ocean Parkway.
Okay, good. You're welcome. Gail's fine. G-A-Y. I know there's a Gail, G-A-Y-L-E-S, and then there's a Gail. Yeah, Gail's amazing. Gonna eat a lot of peaches. That's such a great song. Now I'm not going to be able to get that song out of my head. Thanks. Peaches come in a can. Oh.
Babylon, New York, and has been included with.
Oh, I want to promote another channel. Psycho. What the hell is his name? Psycho. I'll look it up. He's a great guitar player though. Awesome guitar player. Psycho Face, I think it is. If you want to hear a good guitar player, man, this guy's amazing.
The Gilgo Beach murders. This victim was a toddler. She was.
Yeah, I think it's Psycho Face.
Believed to be 2 years old at the time. She's been referred again as Baby Doe.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Again, Dirty Diana's got a great channel. Awesome information on the channel. I was over there. I wanted to come back on, but you guys were gone. Basically around 5 o'clock, 5:15, 5:30 or so. Once the sun starts coming up, I gotta go to bed. But I was gonna get back on your live, but you were done. Thank you, Doodlebug. It's always good to see Doodlebug in here. Doodlebug's awesome too. Where's my shrink?
2015, these were linked. Through DNA analysis, Peaches was identified as the mother for Baby Doe. Although we linked them together as mother and we still did not know their identities. In 2020, the FBI.
Hey, if you're walking in here at night, and it could be because of the reflection here, it's dark, pitch dark. You can't see anything. And if you put a body in here, you'll never find it, especially if it's, wrapped in anything. It won't have an odor to it. But this whole coastline here got buried during Hurricane Sandy. So I'm just wondering if some of these bodies that we hear got moved around a little bit.
FBI assisted us, and the DNA was turned.
I mean, there were 10, 12-foot wave heights here, surge heights.
We linked them together as mother and daughter. We still did not know their identities. In 2020, the FBI assisted us, and the DNA was turned over to their team.
Ooh.
They began their investigative genetic genealogy studies, which would eventually lead to the identifications of these victims. Agents and detectives subsequently interviewed family members and obtained DNA samples to confirm the identities through our Nassau County Crime Lab. As a result of this technology, the interviews, the further DNA testing and analysis, we can now provide the names to both victims.
Yeah, Dirty Diana's awesome. She's got a great channel. The star of the show, though, last night, that was freaking hilarious. I remember, I forget what we were doing. I think we were getting pictures taken of him, actually. My son, he was like 1 year old, and we were in Sears. I think we were in Sears. You know how they have those like petition walls where they're just see-through petition walls? He just started running, and he ran right into petition to the clear petition wall, and me and my first wife just started laughing hysterically. It was so funny, and everybody was looking at us like, you horrible parents. It was just so funny how he ran into the that's what happens, man, when you have kids. Sometimes you find things that are funny that nobody else does. It's just so funny.
Tanya Denise Johnson.
I mean, he didn't even put out his hands. He just went, right?
Tanya was born on October 22nd, 1970 in Alabama. When she was found in 1997, Tanya was 26 years old and a single mother. She was a U.S. Army veteran, as you see her in her fatigues. She was living in Brooklyn, New York. And
Charles is here again. Good to see Charles in here. You have a splitting headache? Hebby has $700. Order some KFC. Who said KFC? Great. Now I'm hungry too. Multiple personalities. Yep, that's all of us.
at the time, she drove a 1991 Geo Storm color black. This is her daughter, Tatiana Marie Dykes.
The whole time they have nothing here. We all were. This is one thing I hate about these press conferences. They have this stupid pool reporter here with the camera and nothing about the victims. Everybody else can see it, but nobody. I mean, they show it at the end, way over here. But during the whole press conference here, nobody can see. I mean, anybody that's watching this television can't see this stuff.
Tatiana Marie Dykes was born March 17th, 1995 in Texas. She was a 2-year-old female. And again, the body was discovered along Ocean Parkway in Babylon, Gilgo Beach area. Again, in 2015, she was linked.
Yeah, kids can sometimes really put the moment together. That's so funny. Just like psychotic parents laughing. It's just
to her mother through DNA analysis. This is both of them as they appeared back then.
Yeah, congratulations. Nobody can see them.
As the DA said, now we're asking for your help to get the word out to the public in our continued efforts to seek justice for Tanya and Tatiana. Please take a look at these photos. This is how they are in 1997. The next photos I'll show you is the jewelry that they were both wearing at the time their bodies were found. Also, the vehicle I mentioned that is similar to the one that Tanya owned. This is Tanya's jewelry. These are bracelets that she was wearing at the time.
No. Too funny. They say kids are so. Oh yes, my grandson is a keen, and he told me my jeans made me look like a busted cans of biscuits. That's classic. That is a classic. I miss the old school Fred Meyers with the rooftop parking. I know of Publix. I know of the Piggly Wigglies too. Yes. One of them is much more expensive than the other one.
This is Tatiana.
Or is it the Food Lion? I know there's Publix, Food Lion, and Piggly Wigglies. One of them's really expensive. The other one isn't.
His jewelry, pair of earrings, and a necklace. The aspects are front and side views of them. It's not multiple earrings. It's just the one pair. This is a Geostorm that's similar to the car that Tanya owned and drove in 1997. Obviously, this is not the actual car.
And it specifically states here, not the actual car.
This is all the above photos you just saw.
All right, so there she is. There's the daughter. They finally showed it. So that's good news. So I'm going to get out of this now because I got to move on to something else. I don't think it's going to take. Hey, Ron Logan's here. Good God. I knew you were still alive, bro. I don't think. I got to get rid of this too. I don't think it's going to take long for them to identify the perpetrator of this here. Ray Tierney, that's his name. Okay, so I do want to move on to something else. I want to play this here because this came across my feed just before I came on live here, but I wanted to play this here because there is a Food Lion is very expensive. Yeah, one of them is much more than the other one. So this came out just before I came on live tonight. This is a silver alert for this guy here in Hinsdale, which is basically just north of Keene, New Hampshire here. So hold on a second here. And I'll probably put this in a post feed later.
There's now a silver alert for a missing man from Hinsdale.
seen
State
April-
police say
Last seen April 17th, and this was done 3 hours ago. So April 17th was 10 days ago. 5'11", brown hair. So this silver alert is coming out 10 days after he was last seen, which doesn't make sense. 5'11", brown hair. He is alive. That's him there. Scott Plant.
62-year-old Scott Plant was last seen on April 17th parking his vehicle on Main Street in Hinsdale. That is near where he lives. Police say he may have ties to Brattleboro.
So this looks like the Walmart in Keene.
Vermont. They are concerned for Plant, but are not suspicious of foul play. Anyone with information is asked to contact police.
So that's that. I just wanted to do that because that, like I said, that came across. All right, so let's go to this here. We're going to go to this. I think we played this last week, but there's been more going on here with this supposedly possible scare in New England. So hold on one second here. So we played this last week here, and I want to get people up to speed. So hold on a second here. Well, let me play this here, and then I'll bring up the other stuff. So we played this last week when we were on here. This was done 7 days ago. The idea that an SKR could be on the prowl in New England is getting more popular since the beginning of March. 7 people have turned up in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. And this is the report that we played last week, but I want to play this first. So here we go.
Last 2 months, 7 bodies have been found around New England. And while law enforcement is not connecting the cases, people online have other ideas. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward joins us live in Brockton. Bob, the talk is getting loud enough for police to address these rumors.
Rachel, you know, more and more people online are paying attention to this. They are concerned that some or all of these cases might be connected and that a serial killer might be striking in New England. In some corners of social media, like Facebook, the idea that a serial killer could be on the prowl in New England is getting more popular. This Facebook group, New England SK, has nearly 9,000 members. And in other forums, people are posting their concern that some or all of the bodies recently found in New England might be connected to each other. Since the beginning of March, 7 bodies have turned up in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Some of the bodies are unidentified remains. The bodies discovered in Groton and Killingly, Connecticut, are close to a Rhode Island case. So far, law enforcement is not connecting the cases. However, the talk online has grown so loud that recently Groton, Connecticut police issued a statement that said in part, regarding references circulating on social media about incidents in the state of Rhode Island, we currently have no information connecting those events to any of the incidents in Groton. Here in Massachusetts, the discovery of a human skull in Plymouth and another set of remains in Framingham is also being looked at. In the late 1980s, a serial killer struck the New Bedford area. 9 women murdered, 2 missing. Author Maureen Boyle covered the case at the time and wrote a book.
So I want to pause that there. Fox 25 posted this the day before Easter. Yes. I don't want to miss Chad either. So, thank you, Paula. Who is this? I think that's Ron Logan. There was no official obituary, right? Yes, I do. Gonna have to push that off till next week because, but I do want to do that for sure. And I want to get Southern Gal up here for that too. And maybe even Arctic Fox and Therapist Murders. Yes. What was I just doing? Okay. Oh, I want to go here. Let me hold on a second. Okay, so this is the, I don't know if this is the official definition of an SKer, right? So the English term and concept of SKer is commonly attributed to former Federal Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Robert Ressler, who used the term serial homicide in 1974. So that's when the term basically came out. When defining SKers, research generally used 3 or more murders as the baseline, considering it sufficient to provide a pattern without being overly restrictive, independent of numbers. Because there's a big difference between an SKer and, like, say, a spree killer, or so this is basically the definition of this. Independent of the number of unalivings, they need to have been committed at different times and are usually committed in different places. The lack of a cooling off period, a significant break between the murders, marks the difference between a spree killer and an SKer. The category has, however, been found to be of no real value to law enforcement because definitional problems relating to the concept of a cooling off period, cases of extended bouts of sequential killings over periods of months. So basically, this is the definition of that, right? I don't think cops really go by that, though. They're always after me, Lucky Charms. Get away from me. All right, so I do want to go back to this here. Hold on a second. We'll do this one here because this was done a day ago. All right, so let me change this here. And I also want to pull up the percentage. Thank you, Heather Brown. It's this one here. Okay, so we're going to go to this one here. This was done a day ago. And I know they've already got a suspect in custody for 2 of them. So, and I'll play that one next.
On March 6th. The 8th body was found this past Tuesday in Springfield, Massachusetts, 93 miles away.
So this is where they all have been found. You have one here in Rhode Island. And don't forget, these states here in New England are pretty small, right? Rhode Island's, I think, the smallest state in the United States. Even Connecticut, fairly small. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 here in Connecticut, 1 in Rhode Island, and you have these 3 in Massachusetts. But from Norwalk to Plymouth, Massachusetts could take you 6 weeks. I mean, this is far. This is a nightmare to go from Norwalk, Connecticut, all the way to Plymouth, Massachusetts. It's very far. It doesn't look far, but it is far. And even from Springfield to Framingham is pretty far. So I'm pretty sure that this case here in Norwalk and this case here in Plymouth are not connected. I mean, that's just too far. Can I be 100% sure of that? Probably not.
The cluster of corpses discovered throughout New England has triggered fears of a serial killer on the loose. The bodies that have been identified were all women, though their cause of death has not been released.
That's what I say on Rick Stay's channel. I say I liked them twice. Because if you like it twice, you're basically not liking it. Megan Meredith. All right, so here's this. This is just all the buzz around here, especially with social media. People are all over this shit. And, it's just, I don't have problems with opinions, but I don't think, I don't know. I can't be 100% sure if these are all related or not, but I can almost guarantee you 90% that this Norwalk one and this Plymouth one are not connected. You would literally, this is far.
And police are not linking these deaths in any way, at least not yet. But digital detectives are hot on the case. Just do a social media search for New England serial killer, and you'll get something like this. From cyber sleuths to social media musings, speculation has fueled an online explosion. The official New England serial killer Facebook group already has more than 60,000 followers. And as long as female bodies keep turning up, so will the online fervor. In the most recent case from Springfield, an unresponsive woman was found near the city's riverfront. She was pronounced dead on the scene, and police have not released her name or her age. And in Groton, Connecticut, police have also not identified human remains found there near a cemetery on.
So I'm just going to read this here. And this is going back to the whole serial killer thing. So I'm just going to read this. This is coming from the Hill here. America remains fascinated with its SKers, yet in recent years, SKers have plummeted. Study found that the number of active SKers dwindled from 198 in 1987 down to 12 in 2018. Take that with a grain of salt, right? But that's a significant drop, 198 to 12. And it could be because of the different forms of, I keep saying all the time that I don't think Ted Bundy would have lasted long these days here because of new forensic science, forensic genealogy, all of these different types of even cell phone forensics, right? I don't think any of those people would have gotten away with it these days here.
On March 20th. Now, it's human nature to look for connections and otherwise random data. And bear in mind that just because the bodies were all discovered within 6 weeks doesn't mean the victims were all killed in 6 weeks. In fact, there's evidence they weren't. So, is there one killer responsible or as many as 8? And which scenario is actually more terrifying to the victim?
Who is Megan Meredith? I can look that up. Sorry, I haven't been keeping up with the chat.
The question may be academic, but perhaps they can still provide some forensic evidence that will help lead to the answer and save another woman's life. For more on all of this, let's go to our guest. Joseph Scott Morgan is a forensics professor at Jacksonville State University in Alabama.
I mean, I actually think Ted Bundy was actually very, very stupid. Like if you take the two of them, like take BTK and Ted Bundy and put their crimes together, Ted Bundy was very, very sloppy. And these days here with forensic evidence, I don't think he would have lasted 10 days being that sloppy. BTK was actually, in my opinion, pretty he was pretty good at what he did because he had more of a planned system. Ted Bundy to me was just more of a opportunistic kind of guy.
And host of the podcast Body Bags. And Peter Valentin is chair of Forensic Science Department at the University of New Haven. Thanks so much for joining us, both of you. Peter,
But even BTK, I don't think he would have lasted these days here. I mean, just cell phone forensics is another thing. People are so stupid, they still take their phones with them. It's just dumb.
don't yet know anything yet about the causes of death here for any of these 8 victims, but 8 bodies in 2 months, that does seem like a lot.
Yes, and thank you for having me, Elizabeth. Certainly the time frame is extraordinary given the circumstances. And the question that it brings up for me is sort of what precipitated the searches to begin with. And, you know, there's a range of possibilities here. Were the police tipped off? Were there a number of tips? Were those tips from the public? Were those tips from agency to agency? You know, and given the population density in the Northeast, you know, it stands to reason that, you know, interagency communication can be at play here, that a situation in one jurisdiction begins communication between jurisdictions that all of a sudden gives us a situation where we have more bodies being discovered than we ever would have had it not been for that level of communication. Because normally agencies are not engaged in random searches of wooded areas, such as we're finding.
Joseph, some of the bodies we know are actually quite decomposed. How critical and how difficult is it to determine a cause of death? It's difficult, especially with bodies where the decomposition is pretty far along, right?
Yeah, and it's needed when you start throwing around the term serial killer. One of the things that we look for are patterns, of course. And so most of the time, if you have a singular individual that's engaged in this behavior, there's a commonality relative to what methodology they employ. And right now, we have bodies that are so advanced in decomposition that the MEs have not released causes of death specific to these subjects. So that's going to be very important. And sometimes, you know, I've worked so many of these cases over the years and covered them on air that many times they'll classify it as a homicide, and then they'll say homicidal violence. And that's the best that they can come up with. But we do have bodies that are intact, and still to this point, we don't have a cause of death yet on those either.
Yeah, Peter, Connecticut police say there is no known connection at this time and therefore no threat to public safety. It sounds like they don't believe that there's a serial killer here at work, even though there's a lot of people online who do.
Well, I think it would be prudent to say that we don't know.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ms. Kay. Jim, sorry, I'm just trying to keep up with the chat. Springfield, Massachusetts. That's correct. I'm just terrible with names. All right. So who's
know whether or not you have a single perpetrator responsible for one or more of these deaths.
We don't know either way.
Right. And, in most cases, there's a relationship between your victim and your offender, and what you're doing with your evidence is you're exploring the connection between those. And in a case like this, when you have a body left in an open field, you don't understand what that connection is between your victim and your offender, and now you're searching for physical evidence to establish that connection. And in this situation, with multiple bodies in multiple jurisdictions, we don't know if there even is a connection.
Yeah, I'm remembering the Long Island serial killer where we had women's bodies who were found in various states of decomposition, many of them over a pretty extensive, parcel of land. But there were definite similarities in how those women were killed, right, Peter?
Yes, and it took time to recognize that they were actually the work of the same perpetrator, and it took forensic evidence to do that conclusively.
All right. So, Joseph, the New England serial killer Facebook group already has nearly 64,000 followers. This has clearly touched a nerve among the public. Does this sort of public activation help or hurt an investigation?
Sounds like I'm waffling. It can help significantly, particularly if you've got individuals that are being discovered. But I urge caution here. Let's think back.
Thank you, Southern Gal. Appreciate that. If it's a serial, I hope they catch the person. Me too. I do think, though, that they're, I remember Jane Borowski said this a couple of weeks ago when they interviewed her about this this whole thing that's going on down here. I don't think it would be a bad thing if they came out and said people just pay attention to your surroundings and make sure that you if you're walking on a path, don't have your headphones too loud. I mean, stuff like that. She knows because she was attacked. It'd be good if they were saying stuff like that. But they're pretty much doubling down on this fact that this is not a connected type thing. But you never know.
Back to the Ladybird Lake deaths in Austin, Texas. We had bodies.
Yeah, I think the Ladybird Lake thing is more suspicious than this going on here in Massachusetts. But that's just my opinion. I don't know for a fact. I would think that that's a little bit more suspicious than this thing here.
That were popping up in the river there in Austin. People are saying that there was a serial killer there, and the police said there's no connectivity between these individuals. So we have to be very careful. I find it interesting as well that with LISC that we had in Long Island, now this is actually have an acronym for it now in New England called NEST, I think. So I'm seeing this kind of matching that's coming along. I urge everybody to take a beat, be very cautious about what they say, what they do, because maybe there is somebody out there perpetrating something, but we don't know anything. And look, we don't know what the police know, and we shouldn't know what they know because they're working these cases. We'll know all in good time.
With the public fear.
Well, if there's somebody out there unaliving people, I'm pretty sure people should know about that, right? I mean, that's the problem. They don't say anything at all. And they did this in, I think it was Washington State. Was it Washington State a couple of years ago? They were emphatically saying there was no SKer out there, no SKer. And then right before they arrested a suspect, then there was an SKer. So I think they should come out and at least say, be safe, just make sure that you know what you're doing, because, I mean, we may not know there's an SKer around, but we could be wrong.
Fear being what it is, it might be great for the police to, when they do know something, give us that information. As in, these women died in dramatically different ways at, dramatically different times. There appears to be no connection. But got to tell you, both, this as well as I do, these bodies keep turning up. It's just going to fuel the public sort of hysteria on this. Joseph Scott Morgan, Peter Valentin, thank you both so much. Great to have you on the show.
So I want to play this one here, and then I want to find... All I'm saying is that if there is an SKer, we'll be the last to know. That's for sure.
Investigate if there's a connection between the discovery of human remains found in a nearby cemetery on Mitchell Street last month and the intensive scene investigation at an apartment just blocks away from where that body was found. Citizens are now taking to social media to share their concerns about a potential serial killer. Fox 61's Valerie Moravi spoke with neighbors and has the latest.
Well, people from all over New England are taking to social media to share their concerns about the discovery of several human remains of women across New England. Now they tell me they're scared this could be the result of a potential serial killer. With the permission of these two TikTok users, the videos show their concerns about multiple bodies found across New England.
There is a very active serial killer stalking both women and men in southern New England right now.
The human remains that were found in the cemetery were just identified as a female between the ages of 40 and 60.
On a Facebook post, Groton police announced the discovery of human remains on Mitchell Street, adjacent to the entrance of Colonial Cemetery on March 19th. Police say the victim was identified as a female. On April 17th, police say a concerned citizen called police to an apartment on Allen Street, just 2 blocks away from where the previous body was found. The scene investigation also led to numerous rumors of another body discovery, but police confirmed no body was found. On April 16, Providence police say they recovered a body from the Winnescataquet River. Social media users and several neighbors I spoke to who did not want to be on camera are now asking local police to address the public if they should be aware of potential serial killer across New England. Now, Groton police are reminding people to stay vigilant and cautious of their surroundings. And if anyone has any information about this incident, police are urging people to contact them. More details at fox61.com. In Groton, Valerie Moravi, Fox 61.
All right, so I want to play this one here. Hold on a second. Yeah, this is the one I was looking for before. Too many windows open at this point. So we know that these two right here are not, because they just arrested somebody, a suspect in these two here. So this happened 2 days ago. A man is being held without bail after 2 men were found unalived in a wooded area in Salem, Massachusetts. So they've already found that these 2 victims are not connected to those other ones.
This is a well-known, or rather neighbors say this is a well-known panhandler around here. He was arrested last week. Dollars in cash on him that was seized. He was also released on his own recognizance last week, and in some time in that time between then and now, police say he committed these 2 murders.
Sir, from my understanding, I've already been appointed a lawyer. This gentleman here.
Tonight, 30-year-old Jay Blodgett is behind bars, charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors say he killed 2 men after their bodies were found by a man walking his dog yesterday afternoon.
Blunt force trauma and stab wounds that were deceased. They were hidden in the woods by various items and dirt.
Prosecutors not revealing details about Blodgett's connection to the victims or any potential motive. They say he admitted to killing them to detectives.
I know that they're going to provide me with a 90-minute interview that he had a chance to speak to police.
Okay, thank you, Ms. K. I appreciate that. I don't know what it is with the homeless and SKing, but that's almost as bad as long haul trucker stuff. Like if you're gonna unalive people, homeless is a place to start, because no one will ever suspect anything going on there. I mean, I don't know how many cases I've been where homeless are victims of. I think there's been at least several SKers preying on homeless people, and I think some homeless people have actually been SKers. So it's a gold mine.
Blodgett was also arrested last week, accused of breaking into this trailer, bringing a mattress, and living in it for some time.
That's when they had the huge fire and whatnot. So then he moved over here to this trailer.
This man works nearby and knows the suspect, and says after the property owners kicked Blodgett out of here, he went back to the woods where the wildfires were last year behind Walmart on Highland Ave, the same location where the 2 bodies were found.
He went back across the street. He still got a hut on the top of the mountain behind Walmart. Would have never guessed it. Nicest guy. Always said hi. You know, I've given him a few bucks myself.
So again, that suspect is being held without bail right now. No IDs yet on the 2 victims who were found here. We're live in Salem this evening. I'm Peter Eliopoulos, WCVB News Center 5.
Like I said, I'm going to keep an eye on this thing here, but everybody in New England is going nuts over this whole SK thing. I mean, if I had to put a number on it, I'd probably say 30, 70 maybe. I just don't think these are connected, but blizzard time, that looked really good this morning. I'm not allowed to have ice cream in here in this house. It's painful. First come, first serve around here. All right, so let's move on to something else. I did like the military. That's what I said. What am I doing? Okay, I need to move on here to another. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, what's this? Second. Is this new? No, that's 8 months ago. Okay, never mind. All right, so let's go here. There's just so many things going on right now. It's not even funny. We did the prison guard stuff, right? Okay, no, I did want to do this here. So this is all right. So this is the defense attorney coming out and talking about this case that's going on here in Connecticut. The person that was held captive, so to speak, in Connecticut here, and this is the defense attorney now coming out. Because I don't know what they're going to charge this woman for. I just don't. How are they going to prove that she actually did this? Because he's 32, right? And her husband died last year. So who's the one that's been keeping him in this room, right? Like, it's just, this is such a weird case. And she doesn't have any, I don't think she has any custodial rights to this kid or not. This guy, I mean, he's not a kid anymore. He's 32. So here's the defense. This is the case. We've gone through this a few weeks here. Kimberly Sullivan's attorney says the client denies all allegations against her, that she kept her stepson captive, and there's no evidence anyone held him captive. Sullivan is accused of holding her stepson captive in their Connecticut home for 20 years. I mean, 19, 1 year. The man, now 32, set fire to the house in a deliberate effort to save himself. But she didn't keep him captive for 20 years. It was 1 year because he was given to father. The mother signed over custody to the father. I forget when the kid was 8 years old. So he's not a kid anymore. He's 32. This is just such a weird case.
That's it. I have 2 cats. Everybody's out? Yes. But your stepson's still inside? Yeah, he's right here. Okay, yes. Come out. Come down the road. Come on.
Now, for what's tipping the scales in the case against Kimberly Sullivan, the Connecticut woman who's accused of holding her stepson captive in her home for 2 decades in deplorable conditions. Well, we heard from the victim last week when he released his first statement saying, quote, "I am the survivor of more than 20 years of captivity and domestic abuse. I was held prisoner in my home from the time I was taken out of the 4th grade at age 11 until 2 months ago at age 31, when I purposely set the fire that helped set me free." But Kimberly Sullivan's attorney is saying that the charges don't add up. And he is joining us this morning live on the program. I want to welcome in now Attorney Ioannis Kaloidis. Good morning to you. And I think I might have mispronounced your first name. Ioannis Kaloidis, is that correct?
You got it. Both ways work.
Okay.
Ioannis is the formal, Ioannis is the more casual. And thank you for having me this morning, Julie. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, of course. Well, we're delighted to have you. Ioannis, tell us why it was important for you to come on the program, if you would, please.
So obviously, I wanted to accept your invitation from the day we got it, but I feel it was important to come on here because there has been a lot of media attention. There's been a lot of media scrutiny, and there's been a lot of negative attention directed towards my client. At times, it feels like the whole world has already convicted her, and she is feeling the weight of that. And she's asked me to try and protect her, both in the court and outside of the court. There has been a lynch mob mentality. And what I can tell you is she has maintained her innocence. She has proclaimed her innocence to me, and she has asked me to try and clear her name. So that is why we are here. We are trying to push back on the public narrative that she is, some horrible person. That is not the case.
Giannis, tell us what exactly happened in that house where she and the man who's now 32, her stepson, he's going by S now to not identify himself publicly. What exactly happened in the house where the two of them were living?
So, I mean, there's a lot of ground to cover there. There's more than 20 years that they lived in the home together. And what I can tell you is the specifics about our defense, the specifics about what she's going to say, those are going to come out at the time of trial. There is evidence that we intend to introduce. There's witnesses that we intend to call. There's experts that we intend to use. But at this point, it's still premature. What I can tell you generally is my client denies that she ever any restraint on this man. She did not prevent him from leaving the house. She denies holding him captive. She denies depriving him of food and water. She denies all of these allegations.
If she didn't do it, who did?
Well, respectfully, that question assumes that someone did. We don't know that anyone held him captive. We have no evidence to suggest that anyone held him captive. I've spoken to my client. She's made clear that he was not a captive in that home.
Police say, Giannis, that there was an external lock on the bedroom door where S lived. Is that untrue?
That is true. There was an external lock on that door, but there was an external lock on multiple doors throughout the house. And those external locks predated my client ever living in the home. So when she moved in, external locks were on doors throughout the house, and they remained on many of the doors, even today.
Giannis, we know that S was extremely emaciated, 5'9", that's how tall he is, and he weighed 69 pounds at the time he was rescued. Police reported he was very dirty. His hair was matted. They said all of his...
Yeah, but why is she being charged? I mean, I don't understand why she's being charged. I know that she was there when he was there, but I mean, he was there under his father's care too. And how do you go to 69 pounds in a year? So this must have been going on way before last year.
His teeth appeared to have been rotting from his mouth. What's your client's response to that? If she was living...
Yeah, the father died last year. So I'm just wondering, I know this is probably not the right thing to say, but I wonder if this guy's doing this on purpose. If he were still alive, they both would be charged. What are they going to charge her for?
With him and in a position...
Can they prove that she put the locks up? Because if not, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
To help him live well.
So my client, the
I mean, all I'm saying, it's not like this guy's a kid. You know, it's not like this guy here is 10 years old anymore. He's 32. So, I mean, how long has this been going on? And who's to say that she was holding him captive in the room?
Individual, her accuser is now 32 years old. He's been an adult for more than a decade. She is not responsible. He's not a child, but she's responsible for his care. She cannot force someone to take care of themselves. She cannot force someone to leave the home. She cannot force.
That's exactly what I'm saying. She has no parental rights over this guy. Sorry. She has no responsibility to take care of this guy. He's 32, so he can leave whenever he wants. This is just weird. This is a weird. I mean, these locks don't look that like. I could probably run right through these locks. That's all I'm saying.
Someone to bathe. Those are all things that were within his control, and we believe that is what the evidence will show at trial. And respectfully, with respect to the weight, there is a lot more that I think will come out with respect to the weight. I have yet.
She was there for the last year, but the father was there almost the entire time. So who's the one that put him in there in the first place? Was it the father or her? I mean, the father was in a wheelchair for, I don't know, a good 3 or 4 years or so, I think. So I don't know. This case is weird. This is just weird how they're charging her with this. I mean, he's a grown man, right? 32 years old.
To see any medical records from the date he went into the hospital through the present. Obviously, those are going to be at issue. There's going to be medical experts that.
Yeah, but when did he start losing the weight? Right? Like coercive control. A 32-year-old? He said 20 years. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is weird. I don't know why they're charging her.
May testify in the case that may address that. We've gotten some discovery. And what I can tell you, based on some of the Department of Children and Family records that have been produced, weight was a concern from an early age, from as early as 4 years old, again at 8 years old, and again at 12 years old when DCF was involved. And at every step of their involvement.
I mean, DCF went there, I forget which years, and checked, and everything was fine. They said anyways. So I don't know. It's just I don't know how they could be charging her. She has no parental. She has no real responsibility for this guy at all. I mean, doesn't. And in my opinion, they're gonna have to prove that she put the locks on the door because.
A pediatrician addressed this issue and cleared my client. We are confident that when all the evidence will come out, there will be a different picture that's painted of my client.
Giannis, what about the fire that police say S set so that he could be rescued?
I mean, that is possible that he was conditioned to the abuse, but his father was there most of the time. So who did it? Who was doing the abuse? Is what I'm saying. I mean, this room looks awful. This room looks terrible, right? I mean, I've seen worse, but this room is, but all I'm saying is this kid didn't just start doing this a year ago. This has been going on for a long time, it seems like. And I don't know how they're going to prove that she was the one that was doing it. Because the father lived there. It's not like the father didn't live there. And the actual biological mother gave custody over to the father when this guy was really young. So I don't know who was doing the abuse, but I don't know how they can blame her.
That he was deliberately laying down so that someone would literally pick him up and get him out of that house to safety. What does your client say to that?
So we're not even certain how this fire actually started. We know what the accuser has said, but the evidence I have seen it does not definitively support that yet. We're still waiting on the reports. The early preliminary fire marshal.
I mean, it's just wrong for her not to call somebody that he's, that underweight and in his room, and but she doesn't have to, does she?
Reports I've seen do not create a strong case in support of how the.
I mean, if the house is in her name, I don't know who the house's name is in, but if the house is in her name, then he's just like a tenant, right? At that point, or I don't know how the law works in Connecticut, but once the father died, if she's got sole possession of the house, right? The house gets transferred to her name. I don't know. The son's 32. I don't know how the laws work like that. Is he even, I don't know, a tenant? I don't know.
Fire started. So there's still a lot of questions about that. And whether that even makes sense, given all the other options and all the other possibilities and all the other ways one could leave.
Yeah, but the biological mother knew where he was. The biological mother gave custody over to the dad, and she knows where the dad lived. So, and then she came out a few weeks ago and said she was trying to find the son. Well, he's right there. It's this is so weird, right? How does she not know where her son is? She's the one that gave custody over to the father in his house. He's living right there. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Their alleged captivity. This method doesn't make sense. Given the amount of neighbors, now I'm not going to get into all the ways that we're going to cross-examine and poke holes in this story. But I think a critical analysis of this story, extensive cross-examination, and a strong defense, and I think this case will not stand up.
Giannis, you're no doubt.
See, we have no evidence anyone held him captive. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying. How does anybody know? How can you prove that he was being held captive? He's 32.
A tremendous advocate for your client. Kimberly Sullivan is lucky to have you. From her perspective, what is the story? I just want to make sure I'm clear. Is it that he's living there and she's not holding him captive, not starving him, not abusing him in any way?
That is correct.
Okay. They chained him, though. I mean, they were literally chained up and held captive. This guy here was free to go at any time. I don't know who put the locks on the door. But I'm assuming they've been there for a long time. If it was just 1 year, then yes, she's definitely guilty of that. But who put the locks on the door? That's what I want to know, because it obviously had to have been done years ago, right?
We have to leave it here for now for time's sake. But Giannis, we would be happy to welcome you back as you're able to share more with us from your client's perspective and what went on in that house where police allege.
This is going to be a tough case to prove, in my opinion. I'm not saying she didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying, I don't know how. Yeah, he was free to go at any time. That's what I'm saying. But if he was being held captive for so long, wouldn't the burden go onto the father? because I mean, it's a stepmom. So even stepmom, she doesn't have any custodial rights over him at all. So she doesn't technically have to do anything at all. And if the father dies and the house gets passed to her, then at this point I don't know, is he the 32-year-old guy is a tenant, or is he just kind of squatting at that point? I don't know. The only allegations at the moment, nobody knows who put the locks on the door, and I'm assuming those had to be done way before last year. The guy's 67 pounds, so obviously he wasn't eating for a long time. I mean, I don't know how long it would take somebody to go from being, I mean, I don't know the ratio. What did they say was 5'9"? So 5'9", 32 years old, 5'9", average weight for, I can probably look that up. Hold on a second. Average weight. Oops. For I'll do 5'10" male. So an average weight for a healthy weight range is generally be 132 to 160 pounds. However, the ideal weight can vary based on individual factors like muscle mass, body composition. The average weight for adult males in the United States is 199 pounds. So 5'9". How long does it take to go from 167 pounds to 67 pounds? I don't know. I'm assuming it would have to be a long time. Who the heck weighs? That's what I'm saying. 160 at 5'9". I think that's a little low. I would think it's probably a lot more than that. Like I mean, I consider myself to be pretty plump here. I'm probably 5'10", so I'm probably around 200 pounds, I think. Of course, I'm freaking old, so I don't know what that has to do with it. All right. So let's go to this knucklehead. God, I hate this guy. But this is the latest on the Stefan Stern shit here. Let me stop this here. Once you're starving, your body eats itself. I'm just wondering if he hated her that much if he was doing this to himself. Maybe he's
in the sexual.
I mean, is it possible that he could have some mental issues or, some sort of taller than I seem? Do I seem short? I used to be pretty in shape, but that's what happens when you get old. It goes away. Dino's leaving. God, Dino, 7'13", 600 pounds. You weigh 600 pounds. What about child abuse charge from when he was exactly? That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think DCYF is going to come into play here because they said that they were out there a couple times and they said everything was kosher. So, I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, they're going to have to prove she put the locks on the doors. That's my opinion. Which they can do probably by receipts and stuff like that. But those locks don't look that stable. I mean, that's all right. So here's the Stefan Stearns trial is delayed. Last night, the judge overseeing the suppression hearing for Stefan Stearns said he will issue a written ruling on Stefan Stearns' motion to block evidence relating to his cell phone and Google account. Or do you want to listen to this one here? Decisions. Hold on. Let's do the Vinnie Politan thing right here. This is the latest. Jenny's taking off. Have a good night, buddy. Mino Dino. Jocelyn's going to bed too. Night, Dino. Have a good week, buddy. Good night, Delano. Who else is going to sleep? Whoever's going to sleep or taking off, thank you for coming in. Have a great week. Don't die. Hey, John Paul is in here. Hey, John Paul, good to see you, man. Everybody, John Paul's awesome. He's a great musician. Nope, I still got 3 hours of work left. Okay, good. So feel free to check out John Paul Hansen's music. He's awesome. And I learned about John Paul through Southern Gal, I think. Pretty sure it was Southern Gal. Dave is awesome. Dave, take care. And watch that butthead Shibby. He's a snake. We're all snakes, bro. Mino Dino's awesome. Have a good week, buddy. Stay safe, man.
I'm Vinny Politan. The subject of my investigation, the sexual abuse and murder.
Can't go a week without Vinny Politan here. Probably was. Yeah, I think it was. It was definitely probably you. But feel free to check out John Paul Hansen. He's got great stuff, great music. And I think this, what's it, 2 hours? Yeah, so we'll end it here with Vinny Politan.
Murder of a 13-year-old girl named Madeline Soto, who unfortunately had no one in her life who protected her from a predator. Here's the story. 13-year-old Madeline Soto was murdered in February of 2024 in Kissimmee.
This poor little kid, man. This child here had absolutely no choice, no chance, no nothing. It just sucks. This whole, and I say this every time I see her. It's like groomed at a very young age. Just terrible. It's awful.
Florida. She was reported missing after failing to show up at school, sparking a frantic search. 5 days later, her body was found in a remote area of Osceola County. The medical...
You can't be leaving music. Thank you, Southern Gal. After show? Yeah, who's doing the after show? Because I'll go there. I just feel like I've bored you guys enough. So I do want to play the Lori Vallow thing too, though. So
examiner determined she had...
We'll watch a little of this here to find out what's going on with the Stephen Stearns phone thing, and then we'll do the Lori Vallow guilty verdict. I've been waiting for that for a long time.
Been strangled. Authorities arrested Stephen Stearns, the boyfriend of Madeline's mother, Jennifer Soto. He was charged with first-degree murder.
No, I don't think she's been charged yet. We love you, Dave. We love you too, Dirty Diana, for sure. Jen makes me sick. Yeah, she just, they all make me sick. All these people make me sick. Whoever's involved with this case makes me sick. But Stephen Stearns to me is the real, they should just quickly send this guy to the gallows, in my opinion. That's why sometimes I wish we were still back in the 15th century where they still had, hung, drawn, and quartered type punishments.
Capital sexual battery and possession of child sexual...
The poor kid just...
abuse material. Investigators revealed that Stearns had been allegedly abusing Madeline for years.
It's so sad.
Stearns is currently awaiting 2 trials, the first for the alleged sexual abuse of Madeline and a second trial for her murder, where he is facing the death penalty. Madeline's mom, who allowed her daughter to sleep alone with Stearns in his bedroom, has not been charged with anything.
I've never heard of that. I've never, ever heard of that in my life. Who does that? You just, in your head, you have to think, that's wrong, right? That would never happen.
anything and is expected to be a crucial witness for prosecutors in both trials. So Stephen Stearns, as I said, is battling two battles. He has two cases that are pending. One where Madeline Soto is the victim of a murder and he's facing a potential death sentence. And then the second, super serious as well, for the sex abuse and the recording of images of.
Yeah, I don't know who says to now. I think this came from her, so it's not allegedly. It came from her. I don't know who says just go sleep in the other room with, or go lie. I've never heard of that before. That doesn't make any sense. Who does that? That's just it's disgusting. It's makes me angry very much. Oh.
Madeline Soto over the course of years.
So he's a grown fucking man, right? You just don't do that. You don't allow that. Even if it's just like kidding. You just, oh my God.
So when Madeline is missing and Stephen Stearns is being questioned, there's a moment in that interrogation, that interview, where Stephen Stearns shuts everything down. And it's at the moment where investigators start talking about.
And I don't know. I've said before, this is Orlando Kissimmee. So you can't go 5 feet in Kissimmee and Orlando without being on camera. I mean, it's the vacation capital of the world. It's Disney World. You know, you can't. They got you on camera at the lights, at the tolls, at any. I mean, there's so many different resorts there. Even the condo committees have cameras. You can't go into a condo unit committee thing. You know, any type of that housing unit without passing a gate. At the gate, they got you on camera. If they got you on camera. So this guy was really stupid because they had him everywhere on camera.
The images on Stephen Stearns' phone. Now, remember, he had done what he called an accidental factory reset on his phone. But apparently,
You got to go to the eye doctor too? I mean, there might not be more cameras in the world than in Kissimmee. There's so many resorts there. There's so many. I mean, it's Disney.
investigators were able to get into it nonetheless. Let's take a look at that moment.
From what I understand, that you gave the deputy.
This guy, he wasn't fooling anybody. It's so sad. The cops knew right away. It's just, that's why I couldn't be a cop, man. Sitting in the room with this guy, I just you wouldn't be able to stop me from pounding this guy's freaking head in. Just
He's consent to look through your phone. You did? Okay. And you voluntarily gave it to them so they could bring it here to do the extraction and stuff like that.
What's wrong with your eyes, Heather? Since you're going to Disney? I probably need glasses too. I'm never going to pass my driver's license thing. It's not going to happen.
Okay. What do you think was on the phone? Text messages.
Don't forget, these cops know, right? They know. They know what they got for evidence, right? I shouldn't be laughing. This is such a horrible crime, but
text messages, emails, phone stuff, pictures. Oh yeah. What kind of pictures were on there? Training card pictures, lightsaber pictures, Disney picture.
You're going to Disney in Florida or California? I love Florida. I could live in Florida tomorrow, but I can't. I just love everything in Florida, the heat. There's something different about the Florida air, the sky, the tolls. But I do love the Florida weather for sure.
Here's where I'm going to be brutally honest with you. There's your phone.
Oh, it
I'm
sucks.
pretty sure you know what some of those pictures are about. You're very.
Wow, that's going to be far for you. Are you flying or are you driving? Disney is fun. Disney is. I love Epcot Center. We've been to SeaWorld 100 times. We've been more to these days here. We go more to the western side of Florida though, because we do. I was pretty impressed with Busch Gardens the last time we were down there, except for the ride that we got stuck on. And then, of course, we've been to Clearwater too, to the dolphin thing. My daughter loves that stuff, so we've been there. The last time we went to Clearwater, though, wasn't all that great because what was the name of that dolphin there that died? Anyways, you're flying? You're flying. Are you nervous to fly? I'm not flying anywhere. Not these days. That's not happening. You were born there? You were born in Florida? You sound like you have more of an Alabama accent.
Intelligent person. And I don't want you.
My best friend when I was growing up, his name was Chris Smith, and his mom was from Tallahassee, Florida, and she had the real Tallahassee, Florida drawl, and she would call Chris, and she'd scream his name like woo, really loud. A little bit more, Alabama-ish, or I can tell you've been in Florida for a while, though. You're nervous? Have you flown before? I have, or used to have, really bad astigmatism. It's these big words that are killing me tonight. Astigmatism. I had LASIK a few years back, and I love it. You've flown a million times. Yeah, I don't mind flying. It's the falling. You've flown a million times? She ain't got no Florida accent. She sounds like Wisconsin or Oregon. Oregon?
To discredit yourself by saying you don't know about all the pictures that are on your phone. You understand what I'm saying?
Should I be talking with a lawyer right now?
That was it. As soon as he says the word lawyer, it's over. But this is a huge moment in the investigation. It's really the game-changing moment in the investigation, because once you uncover the phone, it's going to lead to a lot of different things, a lot of different parts.
Your dad was a pilot? That's awesome. I'd probably be a little bit more, okay with flying if I was the pilot. Oh, you're good, Mustang. Mustang's awesome too. We can't wait for the channel. These days here, I'm not flying anywhere. I'd rather run myself over with my own car.
Of the two different cases against Stephen Stearns.
Only because I smoke. So to be on a plane for 2 or 3 hours without smoking, I don't know. I'd probably have to jump. Beware of liars. Yeah, absolutely. I flew like 6 times, and I'm not afraid. It's not afraid. I'm not afraid of flying. It's just, at least when you're in your car, you can pull over and smoke a cigarette, right? Yeah, this dude's life is over for sure. I wish I could just kick him right in the face. Not Vinny, but
And that brings us to the first question.
like I said, I guess everybody's got innocent until proven guilty shit, but
Question in our investigation. What was on Stephen Stern's phone? What did they uncover? What was revealed? Joining me to help answer this question, he's followed the case from the beginning. Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas is with us, and creator and host of Grizzly.
You don't like to kick Vinny? You don't like Vinny? I flew to Jamaica in 1997 for my honeymoon. I drove to my lawyer's office in 2004 for divorce. I don't want to know. Mustang doesn't like Vinny. I didn't like Vinny at first. Hey, it's Gisela. That's Gisela. No shit.
True crime YouTube channel.
We love Gisela. She's freaking awesome.
She's been all over this case, breaking news all the time. Gisela K is with us as well. Thank you both. Cody, I want to begin with you.
I was one of Gisela's first 1,000 subs for sure. I remember when she used to have the Scottish guy on there. She's awesome. Gisela is amazing.
Give us some sense first of what police and investigators said that they uncovered here on this.
Barbara McDonald needs to.
Well, Vinny, what we do know regarding this sex crimes case is that Stephen Stern faces 6.
I don't like being crammed in a plane with all those people. I don't like people. Yeah, that's another thing. Planes smell funny. Yeah, it's. The bear, as she loves bears. My divorce was perfect. They took her to prison. Oh, you poor guy.
60 charges in this case. And again, this case is aside from the murder case that he faces in Madeline Soto's death. But Vinny, of those 60 charges, 40 of them are labeled unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child, 10 or more images. And I don't know if you did the quick math there, Vinny, that's a lot of images, hundreds, if not thousands. And of course, we know without the cell phone evidence, there is no case here because that's where all the evidence is coming from. It's his phone. Now, according to the...
They're not going to throw out his cell phone stuff. It's not going to happen.
Kissimmee Police Department, they released an unredacted affidavit that kind of gives a generality of what was found. And I want to warn viewers, those who are watching and listening at home, that the contents of this affidavit are pretty graphic. But it reads, quote, upon reviewing the contents of Stephen's phone, several images and videos were located which depicted the missing juvenile with her breasts, vagina, and anal opening as the focal point of the...
Trigger alert. Sorry about that. Triggering. It's going to be triggering.
Pictures/videos. There were also pictures and videos depicting the missing juvenile's vagina and mouth being penetrated by a...
Triggering alert again. Why does it keep saying it? Should I fast forward this?
Penis. As such, the files depict the sexual performance of a child. Your affiant has probable cause to believe Stephen was in possession of material depicting the sexual performance of a child. So again, Vinny, hundreds of...
Sorry about that. I didn't know that was coming.
Upon hundreds of files and videos that police say they received from that phone, and it's just utterly disgusting and egregious just reading and seeing that.
So what's different in a case like this, the images themselves cannot be distributed. They can't be made public. That would be a violation of the law. So the best that can be done for the public to really understand is descriptions. Do they give any more specifics. And the reason I'm asking is we're never going to see these images, but I think it's important to understand what is actually
Didn't they bleep that stuff out?
depicted here.
You can say that stuff on TV? That's so weird.
Absolutely, Vinny. So I just read from that unredacted affidavit. Now, this is the case.
Yeah, don't do it again, please.
Supplemental report also provided by police. And again, want to warn viewers that it gets way into more graphic detail in these descriptions of the images and video files. So we'll start with the first one here. It says description, video file depicting a prepubescent female resembling redacted, who we can rightfully assume is Madeline. That's her name.
All right. Okay.
They just grotesque and egregious and arguably infuriating to some.
Right. Well, and I think it's important. Thanks for doing that, Cody. I know it's not easy, but to understand what this really is. So, Gisela, can you give us a little more context now about where these images are? And it seems like it's videos as well as still images. Where and when all of this this?
I truly love her. She's amazing. She's a great person. She did wonderful work with Flora. When everybody else didn't want to do anything on the floor 4, she stepped up and she had Copfax on with I forget his name now. What was his name? The guy. Oh shit, I forget his name. Copfax and him are really good friends. He's now I forget his name. He's really good though. He was always on Kristen's channel. Shit, what the hell is his name? I can't remember his name now. But she's great.
Being taken, these videos are being taken, this sex abuse is happening.
So there were about 1,700 images and or videos, and those were all taken over the span of a number of years.
I had to fast forward. I couldn't do that. Sorry.
Just from what they found from his Google Cloud account that backed up to his phone after he'd factory reset it. So from approximately when Madeline Soto was 8 years old. And I mean, in some of those, his face is in them. He's performing all these horrific acts on a child with his face showing sometimes, with his clothing identifiable, her bedding, her underwear, things like that. So, I mean, it would usually be when she appeared to be sleeping, but sometimes she was awake because we know she drew in her diary as well, you know, some of the acts that were being done to her.
She has the best radio voice I've heard. Like she would be a perfect, she'd be, even with the accent, she has such a great way of speaking. She'd be an excellent talk show host or something like that. She's awesome. I'm a big fan of hers.
So she was aware of some of it.
And how about her mom, Jen Soto? You know, every time this story and these crimes are discussed, people are wondering about Jen Soto. Do we know?
You hanging out with the wrong girls, buddy. She did that while you were sleeping. It's Charlotte. Charlotte's here. So many lies, no one believes them. Are you talking about the Stephen Stearns? Yes, I agree, but it sounded like she was trying to maybe. I agree. True. Charlotte's here. Charlotte's amazing. Her family had done an intervention because she had a bad cocaine problem and has had to go to rehab in the morning. Oh, okay. Charlotte's awesome.
If she's in the
look at this guy. He's in this picture, and he's been grooming this girl here for almost forever now. And look at the smile on his face. And
in the home at the time this is happening, is there any evidence of that? How surprised was she when these images were uncovered by investigators?
I mean,
John Paul, you're awesome. Thanks for coming in. Hope you have a good week. Really appreciate you coming in. Make sure you check out John Paul Hansen's music channel, archives and stuff like that. Great stuff. I'd like to support other people's music when I can. Good to see you in the chat, buddy.
she didn't seem all that surprised. It was actually terrible to see just her lack of concern and reaction. In fact, she had sympathy for Stefan Stones and one.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I've ever heard of a mother saying to their child, I need to go get some sleep, so go into the other room with him. Like, it doesn't make, I mean, that to me, that I don't know where that comes from. That's bizarre. It's and believe me, I try to stick up for her as much as I possibly can, but that's just odd. That doesn't mean blacked out on the toilet. Blacked out on the toilet. I've done that before.
Wanted to get him a lawyer while her child was missing, and they showed her this horrific evidence. She was in the home for most of the time during these years because she wasn't working. She was on disability, and she said she was home most of the time. So yes, we all do wonder, how could this all have taken place when she was at home, and how did she not know?
All right, Gisela Kay is going to stick around for later on in the program. Cody Thomas, thank you so much. Coming up next, did he consent to the search of the phone?
Did they see your taking item from you?
Yes, they did.
Is Karen Reed a killer girlfriend?
She's guilty.
Or the scapegoat in an elaborate cover-up?
I'm surprised you didn't fall asleep. Wouldn't that be called a brownout? Gibby's awesome. A brownout. I don't know. It depends on what you ate, I guess. He threatened her. Yes, he did. Who? Which lady? Who's Sergio?
Karen Reed is accused of murdering her police officer boyfriend.
Defendant stated repeatedly, I hit him, I hit him.
She may end up taking the stand. Her first trial ended with a hung jury. They haven't proven anything.
Will a jury finally agree on a verdict? We know who did it.
The Karen Reed murder retrial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8/7 Central on Court TV.
Her name.
Do you have a Google account? Yeah.
We have Charlotte in the house. Charlotte's awesome. A little bit more of this, and then we'll go to I want to play the Lori Vallow guilty verdict thing.
Do you save pictures to your Google account?
Sometimes.
Or is it automatically? I know sometimes phones sync to a cloud and.
Yeah, I think it backs up to Google.
And then sometimes when you reset your phone and your phone updates and puts these apps back on your phone, sometimes they will put the images back on your phone.
Not sure.
Oh, he definitely wasn't sure. He didn't understand that part of it. He did a factory reset of his phone, but all those images that were on the cloud came raining back down, and investigators were able to get their hands on it. But right now, Stefan Stearns wants the judge to suppress the evidence that was accessed from his phone and from his Google account. He's saying it wasn't done lawfully. So he's in court testifying on this issue. Here he is talking about what he consented to and what he did not consent to. Take a listen.
During your contact with law enforcement, did they see or take an item from you?
Yes, they did.
What item was that?
That would be my cell phone.
Do you know what type of cell phone it was?
It was a Samsung Galaxy. I believe it was a 24.
And what was your understanding as to what they were going to do with it?
They were just going to check my Google Maps and checked to see if I was logged into Google, and that was it. That was all I agreed to.
Did you have the opportunity to see what law enforcement was doing on your cell phone?
No, as a constable was still talking to me, Tabler walked away and began searching those things and denied access.
Isn't it true that she actually handed your phone back to you?
Briefly, when she told me to input my PIN because it had locked itself.
So he's saying he consented for them to look at Google Maps, but not to access all those images. And this brings us.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's possible that she was starting to figure out what was going on. And that's why he did what he did to her. There's always that like period where, you know, these kids that are grooms start to hang out with other kids, and then they find out that this is not acceptable. This is not normal behavior. And then they start to, either way, he needs to go away. He shouldn't have rights. I know. I fucking agree with that 100%.
To the next question in our investigation. Did he consent to the search of the phone that resulted in all those images being found by investigators that are now the subject of this first trial where he's facing life in prison? Joining us, forensic death investigator and host of the very popular Body Bags podcast, Joseph Scott Morgan, and criminal defense attorney with experience in homicides.
There's this guy again, Joseph Scott Morgan.
Sexual assault, child abuse, and a former sex crimes prosecutor. The man who taught me when I started as a prosecutor, even though I think I'm older than he is. Ken Ralph is with us. Great to see you, Ken. Great to see you, Joseph. Joseph, put us in the mind of the investigators here, because when they're accessing his phone, there is a missing girl.
Anyone that touches kids, man, I just have absolutely no human emotion for. I don't understand it. I probably never will. They don't need to be on this planet. Let's put it that way. I just have I don't feel any sympathy for them at all, ever.
They're looking for 13-year-old Madeline Soto. She's gone. Yeah. They don't know where she is, and they don't know where he was. They're trying to access his story. What are their concerns at that moment, and why not get a warrant?
Well, because they don't know where she is, and time is of the essence anytime that you're working a case like this where you have a missing child. And of course, he's going to be he's going to be literally the font or the wellspring of all knowledge relative to her whereabouts, because they know that he's probably the last person that had contact with her. So they're going to that. They want to try to determine where he has been, what he has been doing. Now, as far as the consent goes, he's consented to allow them to take a look at his phone. You know, I don't know what passed between them or what they.
Oh, that's awesome.
Necessarily said to him to have him hand that phone over, but they saw something on there. And just because they find it doesn't necessarily mean that that they were doing anything nefarious necessarily. Their goal right now is just to find where Maddie is.
Now, Ken, I want to play for you some of the testimony from the detective talking about this back and forth and how it went that day when they got their hands on his phone. Let's take a listen.
At some point.
Yeah, I hope you guys both have a good week. My dog's snoring.
Interaction with him, do you request for Mr. Stearns to take out his cell phone?
Yes.
Or to look at his cell phone?
Yes.
Can you remember where the cell phone was, where the defendant's cell phone was when you asked this question?
I do not. It was in his possession, but I don't recall where he grabbed the phone from.
Did the defendant consent to allowing you to look at his phone?
Yes.
Who entered the passcode into the phone?
Stefan.
Does the defendant ever communicate to you any limitations on what it is that
No, I just don't have any. I don't have any care for them whatsoever. I'm just sorry, just don't.
you're doing?
He does not.
Does the defendant ever attempt either verbally, physically, or in any type of way to cease the?
Maybe it's because I'm a father. I don't know. It's just I don't see. Yeah, I think it's the boxer that's snoring. He snores all the time. Probably needs to go outside.
Search of the phone.
He does not.
And at that point, it was just to check whether he was logged into his Google, right?
Correct.
Not going through the entirety of his phone.
Correct.
You never asked him, can I go through the entirety of your
He
phone?
was standing next to me while I was on his phone.
Okay, so it's your basis that he has to say, no, you can just keep digging until he says stop?
Correct.
All right, Ken Ralph, should prosecutors be concerned?
Yes, we love Heather. Heather's amazing. Heather's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. I'll stalk her throughout the week to make sure she's okay. I hope she's okay with that.
Concerned at all here about the way the phone was searched and the images were accessed?
Well, they should always be concerned, Vinny, because obviously there's very key and critical information there that's in that phone to their prosecution. So yes, they have to be concerned. The suppression motion is a big weapon for the defense in this case to use. The takeaway from that testimony is that Mr. Stearns gave the passcode to be able to open the phone to the detective. So that suggests consent. Now, of course, that has to be seen in the context of the totality of the circumstances. You know, what was said to him before that, what led him to do that, and then what transpired after. But yes, this is obviously critical evidence, and it's a very important motion for both sides in this this criminal case.
Yeah, and Joseph, if you put yourself,
He's so nonchalant about all of this stuff too. It's just
in the mind of Stephen Stearns, I know it's an ugly place to be, but I feel like he felt like he was safe because he accidentally did a factory reset on his phone. I don't think he had any idea that stuff would be able to be accessed because of the cloud.
I'm really not. Heather's amazing, and we just want the best for Heather for sure. Heather has a bunch of stalkers, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, hold on a second here. Oh. Got one cat here. Oh, she's gone. Okay. That was Oreo. You missed Oreo. She was just. They're all looking for food, so all the cats are around me now. This is when I usually feed them. Hold on a second. All right. What was I doing right here?
I'm sure that he didn't. You know, he's moving forward and thinking that all of this nefarious activity that he has engaged in, allegedly, and document.
I stalk you too, though, Dee. I'm everywhere. Like every time there's a live, I'm usually in the chat. Mino Dino too. I stalk Mino Dino all the time. Everywhere I go, Mino Dino's usually there, which is good. And lately I've been stalking Charles too, because he's got so many aliases and he's in so many other channels. Evil has a great channel too. We were on there the other night. Great channel. But I'm technically stalking Charles too.
It photographically, and
Mino's awesome. Mino Dino's awesome. He's been with me basically from the beginning. He's a great guy. Him and Heather wouldn't be a chat without him and Heather. That's for sure. You did a small live at Easter Sunday. I caught some of that. Paula's awesome too. Paula's amazing. Always enjoy her emails. She emailed me tonight. Are you going live? I did another on location tonight out in Newport, New Hampshire. So I'll probably be posting that. My cat acts like she's starving when she has a full bowl of food. Yeah, they're around me now. They're stalking me right now. If you don't feed me soon, you're going to be the food.
I guess from a videography standpoint as well, if we are to, believe everything we've heard. He thinks that this factory reset is going to.
Everybody in this chat is amazing. All these people, you guys are all amazing. To be here listening to my bullshit for 3 hours, you guys are all freaking amazing. I adore all of you.
Wipe all of this stuff out. But, here's the thing. I can't imagine that this police officer standing there for that moment in time would have borne witness to all of those items at that particular time. And give you kind of a...
Can you tell where she's from? This is so awesome. Charles, too. He's a lovely, lovely chap. That's awesome. Bloody nice bloke. Oh, God, I wish I could actually hear that. That's too funny. Jackal's here. Hey, Jackal. Good to see you. Good to see Jackal. Jackal's in the chat. You're never late. It's okay. Welcome in. Love having you here. Thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it.
A little reference.
Look at that. That's so weird. Watch this. Watch his face. I mean, this guy's not all there. That's for sure. Watch this stare again.
Well, if we are to believe everything we've heard, he thinks that this factory reset is going to wipe all of this stuff out. But here's the thing. I can't imagine that this police officer standing there for that moment in time would have borne witness to all of those items.
Watch this. Watch this look he gives this cop. Watch this.
At that particular time, and give you kind of a little reference.
It's fucking creepy.
If police officer walks into a residence, okay, and they're doing like a check of that residence, say a welfare check, and they discover a body that has like multiple defects in it, and got blood that's issued forth from the body, they suspect a homicide. They're generally going.
You all see that? That's creepy. That's fucking awesome. You're awesome. Okay, what was I doing? Did you guys see that? It was freaking creepy.
Going to back out of that residence and then acquire a warrant at that point in time, because you can't. The Constitution protects us citizens from them going.
The fact of the matter, this poor kid is not here anymore. I mean, all of this stuff, in my opinion, doesn't really mean much. This kid is just, and she never had a chance. She just never had a fighting chance. She was groomed from a young age, and nobody did anything.
Around and nosing through our environment, particularly hidden places. So if she had seen something at that point in time that was, indicative of his documenting of all of these misdeeds, then it's at that point in time that she would have either retained the phone, set it aside, and waited to get a warrant and get somebody whose hands could be on.
I think is it Jackie or Jackal? Jackal's awesome. Nobody saw her, so incredibly sad. I know it's just, that's what gets lost in this whole thing. Now it's going to become this legal drama, and it's just, this kid's not here anymore. It just sucks. She could have been anything, really. With a good life, she could have been anything. Just sucks from a very young age. She was just treated horribly.
On it that would know how to download those images at that point in time.
Ken, let me ask you, as a sex crimes prosecutor, are you surprised that all of this material was so easily accessible and it wasn't encrypted? He didn't keep it in some separate place where only he could get it, that it was sort of floating in the cloud and back and forth to his phone? And this is over the course of years, these pictures.
She didn't know what was going on either, because she was It's basically the same as the, not the same, but close to being the same as the whole Micah Miller thing. Because Micah Miller was groomed from a young age too. She just made it to a kind of an adulthood. But you know, all of this stuff starts very early on.
Unfortunately, Vinny, I think the dynamic of this type of offender is they do build these collections and they do want their collections to be accessible.
Look at all these charges. June 19th, July 2nd, July. This is how I could bring this whole thing up. It's just, this guy's a piece of crap.
To them, at least I believe that's the mindset that I've heard in these situations. So I suppose it's not surprising, no, and it makes law enforcement's job somewhat easier if, like you say, it's not encrypted, it's not hidden away in some way, shape.
Hey, does Charlotte know that you're related to Harold Godwinson?
Or form.
Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, he was keeping this stuff on his phone over the course of years. Joseph Scott Morgan, we have like 10 seconds left here. What are your thoughts about
This guy wasn't in prison, right?
Stephen Stearns? Do you think if he loses this, in his mind, he may fold, or do you think he wants this public trial if all this evidence comes in?
No, I think he might fold. I think this is a tidal wave.
Is this a DP case in Florida? Is he under the DP? That poor, it was her freaking birthday. Yeah, it's asshole. She had to have known. Yeah, I mean, it's. Yeah, I think this guy only cares about himself. I don't think he cares about anybody else. He's out there. He's got. I don't think the mom is. I don't think the mom is completely innocent, but I think what they're doing is they're going to try to use her against him, and that could be why they're not charging her with anything, because you know, if they charge her with a crime, then they can always get to court, and the defense lawyer can say, well, she's only saying that because she's, you know, she's in on it too. So they may be using her as a tool to get him. They have enough evidence for him too. Yeah. They do that all the time, and I don't understand why cops do that sometimes. But to get a conviction, I think they're willing to do just about anything these days, especially in a DP case.
Tidal wave of data and evidence here. It's very damning.
You'd be surprised. You know, sometimes technicalities work in on these things, and you'd be surprised who will walk free. You know, it's why do they need her for evidence? I don't know. They probably don't need her, but you know, in case they do. Was Harold any good? Harold was killed at the Battle of Hastings. He was according to legend, Edward the Confessor was apparently given William the Conqueror the throne, but then he changed his mind at the last second and gave it to Harold Godwinson, the last Anglo-Saxon king. But William freaked out about that because William was supposed to get the throne to England and invaded England and killed Harold Godwinson, and then that was the end of that. So after 1066, England became ruled by invaders. All right.
All right, Joseph.
My opinion, Harold Godwinson stole that. I don't think Edward the Confessor had any reason to give it to Harold. Anyways, okay, so we're going to go on to this. This will be the last thing here. I'll keep an eye on this case, of course. If they think they're going to get rid of that evidence, they're crazy. All right, so let's I do want to play this because this happened this week too, and this was so awesome. This is the guilty verdict in the Lori Dumbbell case here. If anybody doesn't know about her, she's just she talks to God and all of that stuff, and she's killed a whole bunch of people because of it. So this is the guilty verdict.
All right, we have some breaking news right now on ABC News Live. Reports a guilty verdict is in for Lori Daybell. An Arizona jury has just reached the verdict. It was just read in court. Of course, this is just the latest trial for Lori Daybell, the so-called doomsday mother convicted of murdering her 2 young children because they were possessed zombies. She's already serving a life sentence in that case. She was now accused and now convicted of conspiring with her brother to kill her 4th husband for insurance money. Again, the guilty verdict was just read in that Maricopa County courtroom. She decided to represent herself in this case. She also called no witnesses to the stand during this trial. I want to bring in ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer and ABC's Alex Stone for more on this. So,
no, I think they could charge her after he gets put away, but I don't think they will. Lori Dumbbell, yes. Sorry, my bad.
Alex,
I mean, you don't represent yourself. I mean, it's just stupid. It's just the way. I mean, just. I know it sucks to have lawyers and stuff like that, but you got to be really, really, really good to represent yourself. And I don't know how many people have actually benefited from that, but she wasn't going to benefit from that Arizona case representing herself. Just.
Let's start here with you. Again, this jury deliberated for just a short time here before they came to this guilty verdict on a well-known case with a well-known woman here. It all played out there in Arizona this time.
Yeah, no, right now the jury is being polled by
Oh,
the
yeah.
judge asking, is this your verdict? Did you come out with
Yeah, she's just I don't know. She's living the dream, I think.
the guilty verdict? Do you agree with it? All of the jurors are saying yes. This was delayed a little bit as they were bringing in witnesses to talk about aggravating factors, the next stage going into sentencing, that it appears that they're going to begin doing that if they decide to move forward almost right away. She could be looking at least 25 years in prison in Arizona, but no matter what, she is always going to be going back to Idaho, where she's serving multiple life terms for the murders of her 2.
Idaho. Let me hold on, I'll keep playing this here.
2 children and for the wife of her 5th husband, conspiracy in the murder of the wife there. So even if she had been found not guilty, she would have spent the rest of her life in prison, would have gone back to Idaho. But this is now a guilty verdict of at least 25 years in Arizona. And now they will move into sentencing. Looks like it's going to get going pretty quickly.
And we'll try to listen in when we can. We're on a bit of a delay here with the courtroom. You just saw some people there walking in. As Alex mentioned, there were conversations about potentially aggravating circumstances and what might happen next here. But Brian, I do want to bring you in here because also, as Alex mentioned here, her husband, Chad Daybell, who has now been sentenced to death in Idaho for the murders of her 2 young children, as well as his ex-wife. She married Chad Daybell 4 months after this shooting of her other husband. And Brian, prosecutors allege they did it for the insurance money. And clearly the jury agrees.
Yeah, I mean, all of the facts that were presented here by the.
Is Paula leaving? I'm almost out of here too, Paula. Thanks for coming in. Paula's amazing. We love Paula here. She's just an amazing person. She's got a great channel. We love having Paula in here, and I hope you have a good week, Paula. We'll see you soon, I'm sure. Jen failed to report as they have a child. She knew what was happening when she told them. Yeah, I know that. Yep, absolutely. Like I said, I don't think anybody's ever. I've never heard of that before, especially from a mom. Okay.
Prosecution were not rebutted in any way, shape, or form, at least in the.
Have a great week, Paula.
eyes of the jury with this unanimous decision of guilt that the murder and conspiracy to commit murder between Alex Cox and Lori Vallow Daybell was for the purpose of insurance. And even the prosecution hammered that theory home by playing audio of Lori Vallow Daybell attempting to call her husband's insurance company and finding out that she was no longer the beneficiary. Between conversations, the means and mode of the murder, the two.
Yeah, that's just, that's how I feel like. And that's, kind of what I've said before in this case. Where was the natural father? Because I know that if that was my daughter and I wasn't living with the mother and I found out that the mother was allowing that, there's nobody on the planet that would have been able to not keep me away from that house, man. That kid would have been out of there so fast, man. And some heads would have been rolling for sure. That would have not gone well with me at all.
Shots to Alex not to Alex, but to Charles Vallow's chest, as well as that bit of information of looking for money, prove this case to the jury.
Right. She was, Lori Daybell was trying to argue this was self-defense. She went on to call it a tragic family event in her argument, Brian, that only lasted about 20 minutes. And again, a reminder here to those that are watching, she's already serving life sentences in Idaho. This is a case in Arizona. We'll be waiting to hear what the full sentence is here, Brian. But the decision to represent herself in this case, and in doing that, the decision also to call 0 witnesses to the stand. What do you make of that?
Yeah, no, nobody would have been able to keep me away from that house. I'd have been there every day.
Yeah, so I think I've said it once. I'll say it again. There's an old adage that attorneys say: the person who represents themselves has a fool for a client, and I think that's kind of what happened here. And not to say that Lori Vallow couldn't make the points that she wanted or knew the facts. Probably.
All right, so that's the end of that. I do want to do one more thing for Charles, and then I'll get out of here. So this is. So this is where we're at. So this is basically the kings and queens of England here. This is the list of English monarchs. And everybody before this is different. So, but we are here. This is Edward the Confessor. This is the guy that didn't have any male heirs here. And he was supposed to pass the throne to this guy here. And we did this a couple times, William the Conqueror. So he originally, William the Conqueror was basically a Norman. He lived in Normandy, France. Basically what happened is the Vikings and their conquests of France basically kept raiding and pillaging France. So the French kings got smart and gave the Normans some land over in Normandy. And William the Conqueror was a Norman who basically made it out alive. But he was actually related, I think, a little bit to Edward the Confessor. So that's why he had originally wanted to pass the throne to William. Yeah. But what happened is when Edward the Confessor died, shortly before that, he had supposedly told Harold Godwinson that he was going to get the throne. And when that happened, that pissed off William. So as you can see here, this is the name, and this is how long they ruled. Harold Godwinson ruled from January 6th of 1066 to October 14th, 282 days. And then he died. To this guy here at the Battle of Hastings. So that's, and if you look at the house names, that you're going to figure it out. So You have House of Wessex restored, and then you go to the House of Normandy here, which is Normandy Kings. And basically, after 1066, the English throne becomes conquests. You got the Normans, then you got the French, the Plantagenets here, and all the way down to the. I mean, some people say the Tudor reign was Welsh, but they were technically French too, and even House. The moderns now they're all German. So the English kings all died after 1066. So there you go. That's it. And I'm going to get the hell out of here. You guys have been awesome. We'll do another episode of that fairly shortly. I want to do an episode of a little bit of history with Madeline Beaufort, which is the mother of King Henry VII. But other than that, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Dirty Diana, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. Dirty Diana's got a great channel, greatest channel. She does her lives, I think, early Saturday morning here, Eastern time, which is, I don't know when she comes on. Sweet dude, Shibby, you're awesome. Thank you, buddy, for coming in. You're awesome. Evil Charles is great. Thanks, Charles. He's got a great channel. We'll do something about the long haul truckers next week. Miss K, thank you for coming in. You're awesome. Hope you like your wrench. If you don't want it, just let me know. Jackal, if you want a wrench, let me know too. Jackal's awesome. Thank you for coming in. Charlotte, you're amazing. Jocelyn it's always good to see Jocelyn in here. Heather, let me know what's going on this week, or I'll hunt you down. Just kidding. We love you, Heather. Thinking about you all the time. Mustang, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. Always good to see you here in the chat. But we love Heather. Heather's amazing. Ron Logan, thanks for coming in, buddy. Down the hill. That's classic. Who else was in here? I probably won't be able to say hi to everybody. Oh, Timmy's Legacy was in here. Miss Barbara's awesome. Southern Gal, greatest channel in the world. Southern Gal is amazing. We can't wait for her. Monday Night Missing All. She's great. She's just awesome. Feel free to check out. Everybody pretty much knows who Southern Gal is, but she's great. Good to have her back. Hope she's rested and all of that stuff. Southern Gal is fantastic. Charlotte, thank you for coming in. You're amazing. I hope Honeybee's well too. I haven't seen Honeybee for a while. I hope she's okay. Paula's great. Paula's amazing. Great channel. Jocelyn's got a great channel too. I think it's Butterfly Kisses. I'm pretty sure. Who else was in here? If I missed somebody, I'm sorry. Who am I missing? I know that Mino Dino was in here. Mino Dino's awesome. I know I'm missing some people. Did I say Miss K already? Miss K is awesome. Sorry, I can't scroll all the way up to the very top. John Paul was in here. Check out John Paul Hans' music. Excellent channel, excellent music. Who am I missing? I think I got most. Was Arctic True Fox in here? Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have been awesome. Thanks for sharing your time with me. You guys are great. I want everybody to have a good week. Don't die. And we'll see you next week. If I don't see you sooner than that. But for now, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'll play my outro and get the hell out of here. You guys are amazing. Thanks, everybody. If I missed anybody, also people on the replay, Thank you so much for checking out the replay. You guys are all great. So now I'm going to get out of here. Play my outro and then I'll leave. Stay safe.